There we go. Do the thing that I need to do. Probably should put that on the Twitter now that I remember that I didn't do that.
I advertised all the Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fuck you.
It's a cesspool, this place.
Hmm.
Very fun cesspool.
Just gonna run into that laser beam of 556.
And
Oh, right. I don't even know if it fires 556. Probably does.
okay. That's the short. That's the short one. Whatever. Fuck it. Okay, cool. Hello.
Are we on the air?
We're on the. I mean, we've been in the air. Haha. I
Oh,
just
okay.
finally did the thing. Hey.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Oh, pretty. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Came home and I was just like, oh, I gotta die. So I slept for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But that's how it be.
I was just home and then I decided to do that.
Yeah, fair. Well, welcome back to Table Talk Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Radon95.
And this is the first time I've been here for an introduction in quite a while.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then Aiden's not here. He's a
Yeah.
sleepy boy. He's a slept boy.
Yeah, he'll be here later on, hopefully.
Yep. And hey, I just finished what I was doing in the division. Perfect
Oh,
timing.
hey, there you go. Hello,
Yeah.
Draco Kraken, and I see Juice is gonna be lurking tonight. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, hi Juice. Been a while.
Yeah, been a hot minute. Gotta have you on sometime soon, my man. It has been too long. Yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about some stuff. We'll get to it as we always do, but we start as per usual with comments. Though, I do want to say one little thing that I want to just put out here in the beginning. I've made a little survey thing, a Google form survey thing, for our members and our watchers and all of that. And if you haven't yet participated, I've set it up on the Discord, and I've set it up on the Twitter as it's there that you can see it. We've got a few responses so far, but I would love for more people to respond to it so we can get some more knowing of interests and such. My brain can't think of it, so I'll put it in the chat here. If you haven't seen it yet, it's there, and I will put it in the description actually right now of this stream, and it'll be in the description of the VOD when it comes out. So if you could, please do the thing. I appreciate it. Tuesday nights with the one and only T Squared podcast while I get close to finishing my all-human Neuromod prey run. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Steely.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Aiden, is that you?
Right?
I mean, no, wait, no, not Aiden, you.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I haven't been doing
Yeah,
it
it's
recently.
you.
How
is that going, by the way?
It's good. I just need to actually get back into it.
You're just gonna sit down and play it again.
Yeah, basically.
But now that I've gotten you back into Payday, it's not gonna happen. For
Yeah,
a long while.
you know how it be.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So it's in the description for those that miss out on that. But regardless, yeah. So we'll start with comments right now. Oh, hey, Steely commented a week ago on campaign session 2 and said, You might think that Mez and Boris being introduced to gacha games will destroy their wallets, but just wait till they discover tabletop war games. Blood Warhammer 40k, anyone?
Oh, god damn it!
It's really good. But at
now
least
I have to do that.
At least Mez should be good at painting his minis, being an ink devil and all. It's true. He would be good at it. He would just touch it.
Yeah,
and
because
it would
he just
go,
willed to, you know.
Yeah. Although it is ink, it's not acrylic.
At building them then.
Yeah, yeah, true. But it's ink, not acrylic paint, so it might actually not be the best.
Well, then you know what you do. Do you have prestidigitation or no?
No. Don't have access to that.
Well, then you could go to fucking. You could probably go to the Laughing Skull and have Novakosh prestidigitate and then permanency colors where you want him to.
That's true. Probably could. But yeah. Next up, we have Lux commenting on last week. And by the way, last week meaning 2 weeks ago because haha. Anyway, last episode.
Yes.
Okay, final rewrite. I'm just glad YouTube doesn't show how many times a comment has been edited, because the number on this would be ridiculous. Something about Lovecraftian horror brings out the worst in my brain, and that's the worst in something that's already pretty bad. As I have looked upon my creation, all I could see were my mistakes. No matter what I do, it falls so damnably short of perfection. So anyway, now you get to deal with it. Good luck. On a minor note, whenever XCOM but Cthulhu gets mentioned, I always want to tell people that the second XCOM game they made was just that, XCOM Terror from the Deep, first released in 1995. I mean, it doesn't use the name of Cthulhu directly, but the alien forces are plainly inspired by Cthulhu mythos. The ultimate threat is an ancient sunken city-sized ship that clearly references R'lyeh, which will rise from the sea and bring the end times for humanity if you fail. It's ruled by a supreme alien that sleeps deep within, which will become unstoppable if it fully awakens. Of course, the fact that this is a Cthulhu knockoff and not actual Cthulhu is probably a good thing, since the game is intended to be winnable, though the third game does establish that the aftermath of winning is still not great. It's fair enough.
I mean, you can win in Cthulhu. It's just not a permanent win.
Exactly.
That's all. It's a win for you, not for humanity.
I remember trying Terror from the Deep for like a second, and it wouldn't work. Because it's just one of those, it's a bit too old, and I don't know. I just need to like actually do something to get it to work on my computer, because it's one of those, you got to actually put some work in to make it work.
And I remember seeing, excuse me. I remember seeing another game that is like XCOM, or what are those? What are those? Those aren't RTSs.
No,
action strategy or something.
I would say it's a turn-based. It is a turn-based strategy game.
Okay,
definitely.
Well, then we'll say turn-based strategy just for argument. Yeah. I remember seeing a turn-based strategy game that was a lot more like Cthulhu, and specifically not Cthulhu mythos, specifically related to Cthulhu, because the whole game is about old-timey divers going and finding stuff under the ocean, and you're fighting specifically like deep ones and star spawn and shit like that. The stuff that's very, very closely related to Cthulhu himself, and everything takes place underwater.
That's cool.
And so you go down there, you're looking for stuff, you do an objective, and then stuff attacks on your way out or on your way in.
Gotcha.
And apparently it's super fucking hard, like most of those games are.
Yeah.
Why do those games always have to be so fucking hard?
Because they're good. I don't know, man.
I know, but like, see, here's the thing. I like those kinds of games, but I usually don't have the 4 hours it takes to do a single level.
I mean,
I don't have the drive. Or at least in Valkyria Chronicles, it's that way.
Sure. I'll be honest, with the original XCOM, UFO, Enemy Unknown, or whatever the fuck, it's a little much every now and again, because you get shot from inside your vehicle when you try to get out of it sometimes. So that's not fun, but I mean it's all right, You can use inks in painting, though I don't know if you would do a whole mini that way. Daler Roni inks are amazing. Okay.
Oh.
Didn't know that.
I mean,
hey,
I use inks for washes, but you know.
Oh, yeah, fair. Hey, Juice. It's okay that you're late. Don't worry. You're gonna be lurking anyway. Anyway, continuing on. Excuse me. And now here comes the part of this comment that I edited a million times. I've attempted to discuss my views on Lovecraftian horror as a genre before, but I always garble what I'm trying to say and end up just not posting it. So here goes one more attempt, which I have no reason to believe will come out any better than any of the others. But I'll try to keep it in this time. So just to be clear, I do like Lovecraftian horror. I want to make that clear because the only things I have to say about it are likely to come across as negative. To be precise, I have a significant disagreement with Lovecraft's take on existential philosophy, but I also need to mention that I like to be able to disagree with things. Anyway, I share his starting point on this subject. Human life has no objective value, and the universe doesn't care about us. We are alive today because our ancestors adapted to survive in the face of nature. Nature will not change itself in the future just to enable our continued survival. Human society won't even change itself to enable a single individual's survival, and humans are conscious beings. How much less will the unconscious universe care about human survival? And yet, the individual who fails to survive sees society's apathy as a personal affront, just as Lovecraft treats the universe's indifference as an affront against humanity. Of course, it's natural to think that way because you necessarily exist at the center of your own observable universe, but the vast majority of people aren't going to know that you even exist, and reality itself physically can't know that. My response is that reality's indifference is just how it is. Azathoth doesn't care about me. Why would Azathoth care about me? I've got nothing today to Azathoth either. To say to Azathoth either. Gotcha. Where I get off the bus with Lovecraft is that his writing implies that this state of affairs is horrifying. Sure, if you really think the world should revolve around you, then I could imagine it being horrifying to find out that it doesn't. What I can't understand is being driven to madness by this revelation. I feel like someone would have to already be on the brink of falling apart if that's enough to send them over the edge. So actually, I would push back on this. First off.
I don't know if I would say, well, I don't know if it would be, what the word is, condescending, I guess. I don't know if it would be condescending or overbearing to say I would want to correct you on something, but you go first.
Well, so I was going to say that it's the fact that the universe is indifferent is how it is, sure. The fact that you glimpse that bit of, it's not just the fact that the universe is indifferent, it's the fact that the universe doesn't work the way that you think it does. That is where the horror comes out, because when you start looking into how the world really works in the Cthulhu mythos, then or the Lovecraftian mythos, either, however you want to say it, that's when you start, like, seeing things for what they really are, and that's when you start realizing, oh, fucking people just do these rituals and weird shit happens and it kills people most of the time, right? Like, that will be more horrifying than you just go, it's a big world, there's nothing out there, and why would it care about me? Yeah. And, like, the added sprinkling of, there are things out there that can notice you, but if they do notice you, most of the time, that's a real bad thing, right? Like, most of the time, they will just swat you away because, one, they don't work on the same level as you, and so just looking at you, they could completely destroy you, right? And so you then get to that point of, like, understanding this and seeing how there are people out there that are actually actively trying to do that as well, like, get them to notice them, and thus could potentially destroy all of humanity. Like, it's a big thing, right? Yeah. It's not just that the universe and the things in it are indifferent, as far as I would say.
And for me, I think so there were two things. Yes, there was the not understanding the insanity aspect of learning
Yes.
about the world, and then there is not understanding why finding out that the universe doesn't care
Yes.
is what does that. So
So far.
yes, so far. To me, okay, I got to separate this into three things.
Yes, go for it.
Or two things with two going to one.
Mm-hmm.
So the horror part of the world and the universe being indifferent really just comes from the fact that everybody has a pretty human-centric view.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if there is a story or a thing or anything that isn't human-centric, we start applying adjectives to it. We start humanizing it. If you've ever heard of the movie, I think it's called The Great Journey. It's about a bunch of animals that basically just get lost, and they have to make their way home, if I remember correctly. And and the animals, like, they are real animals. It's not animated, and they're not like mimed to move their mouths when they talk, but they talk. They're like, they're voice acted and stuff.
Yes.
But animals don't do that. You know what I mean? Animals don't talk.
Right.
They communicate, but in a way that we don't really understand for the most part, right, except in very specific circumstances like dolphins and things like that, where dolphins have names. But 99% of all animals don't work the way humans do. And yet when we have a story about them, we have to define them in human terms because it's the only thing that we understand. And so when you discover that that there's something else and something worse and something more than humans, that's frightening. When you realize you're not the top of the food chain anymore, and when that food chain, it's not a T-Rex, it's a thing that's 10 times more intelligent than you.
Yeah.
That's very frightening, because another aspect of this is the fact that when you're living your life, you necessarily, like you said, you're kind of the center of your own universe. And to find out that no matter what you do, it was basically meaningless. People struggle with that all the time, that they feel meaningless. Now tell them definitively and correctly that they are absolutely meaningless. You are a bacterium in this universe. That's not good.
It'll fuck you up.
It'll fuck you up no matter, and the thing is, a lot of the times in Call of Cthulhu stories, the characters are very, very intelligent. And they're not the kind of people who would be like, that can't be true, until they see it.
Right.
And so when you tell an intelligent person that, and they actually take it to heart and really understand what that means, that's what that starts to creating terror. Or that is what starts to create terror in them. Because if you tell someone who doesn't understand, it's going to go over their head. Yeah. Naturally, the same way you would try to explain theoretical physics to a child, it's not going to hit home. Or if you try to explain theoretical physics to most people,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And for the insanity thing, I've got two things to that. A lot of times in Call of Cthulhu, when you hear about a character going insane, it's usually done in a flashy way. They scream, they grab their head, they start sucking their thumb, they curl up into a fetal position, and they start saying crazy shit. Yep. That's not usually how it happens even in the works. Where if you look at the Lovecraft story Dagon, that's a good one. It's really short. Yeah. Dagon's very nice. I like Dagon. In Dagon, if I remember correctly, a guy, I don't remember the setup, but basically what happens is a sailor is out doing something, and something happens, and then he wakes up on effectively like an exposed mud bar, like a sandbar, but like a undersea mud bar. Mm-hmm. And there's like these large chasms in there, and he starts walking across this mud bar trying to find some semblance of anything. And he stumbles across a massive statue of Dagon, which is the father of the Deep Ones.
Yes.
Father Dagon and Mother Hydra. And he looks at it, and it's a very frightening statue. And then Dagon appears before him in some fashion. It's been a long time since I read it. And what happens, he doesn't go insane. He becomes insensate. You know what I mean? Because the human mind is able to separate itself so effectively from a very traumatic thing. You can have these moments where you have this incredibly traumatic thing happen, but you legitimately don't remember it. Or you form a split personality to deal with it. That shit happens in real life. It's rare, but it happens. And so a lot of the time, insanity is more just an extreme frightening response or terror response that has a lasting effect on somebody. Like the one of the ones that I always love to use as an example is, say you're playing a Call of Cthulhu game and you're going to a place and you fall into a pit of worms and they're all over your body and shit, and you have a psychotic break because of it, or you fail your sanity roll, whatever. And then after that, and these worms are like the size of like cats. It's horrible. You fall in that pit, you fail your sanity roll, there are these horrifying, ugly worms, and you get out of there alive. Then the next time you go to a grocery store and you see a cucumber, that cucumber be hitting a little different now. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's the association.
Yeah, because it can go one of two ways. You can have a psychotic break at like seeing that and it instantly reminding you of the worms, and then you having a legitimate response to that, or it's just really, really discomforting. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe you don't even know why. That would be even scarier, I think. You're walking down a tunnel, all of a sudden you kind of blank out and it's like, did I just miss the last 30 feet? Because you do that all the time, whether you believe it or not. Because for those of you who drive, if you drive the same path pretty often, you know what I mean? You start driving and then because your brain tunes it out.
Yeah, I've legitimately just gotten, like, I've driven for a while and then just realized I don't even know how I got here, but I know how I got here at the same time.
Because your brain is very good. It's very, very good at tuning shit out.
Yeah.
Except in that case, you're tuning it out because it's boring. Exactly. In this case, you're tuning it out because it's terrifying and harmful.
Yes, exactly. The brain will try and make it so that you're not harmed in whatever way.
Yes.
That is true.
And so that's my take on the actual insanity mechanics, quote unquote, in Cthulhu, because there's not really any other way to talk about it.
No.
And then the other thing is that whenever I see insanity in Call of Cthulhu, I usually don't see it as the babbling incoherency thing, unless that's the response.
Yep.
Because the way I see it is, it's more how disconnected you are from humanity. You know what I mean? Okay. Because sanity, in our terms, is defined by us. So if you start going outside the norm, whether or not you are perfectly sane or not, technically, society will deem you insane. Think of it this way. You know the Joker. People have done studies on the Joker's psychosis, quote unquote. There is nothing that he has that we have that is documented and confirmed as mental illness.
Right.
But he's insane.
Right.
You see what I mean? He doesn't have any definable, prescribable, knowable mental illness, but he's still batshit.
Right.
And he's actually like brilliant.
It is true in most interpretations, yeah.
Yeah. And on the same thing, you can have these cult leaders who are, they're casting powerful spells. They've glimpsed behind the veil. They know the secret. They know some of the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can blend into society just fine. If they don't, brandish their sacrificial dagger or wear their cloak, a lot of times they've gotten used to it because they've been doing it so long, and yet their sanity is still at 0. So there's criminally insane like a cultist leader who is still very much in control of themselves, and the people that are completely insensate and thrashing around in a straitjacket in a sane asylum. So it depends on the kind of insanity you want to define the responses in that happen in Cthulhu stories. Or Lovecraft stories, I should say. I always call them Cthulhu.
Right. This is how it happens.
Yeah. So it depends on how you want to do that, because you can easily have a character that goes completely insane, but his only real response is that he's terrified of cats. That's still a mental illness, but if you don't have cats around, he's perfectly functional. Yeah. So it's really not black and white.
Yeah. See, you put it so much better than I did.
Thank you. I know I'm long-winded about it.
No,
but
it's good to be. I wish I had more of that in my brain, you know? But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's sanity.
Yeah, exactly. Hey! Hopefully that helps with how we view it. We'll get back to that comment in a second. I see a lot of things. In terms of relating to animals, dogs are probably the closest to humans in terms of being able to relate to us. They can read human faces and are the only animals that can understand pointing. They also have unique sounds they use just for communicating with humans. But that's all an aside. Back to the horror and insanity. Sorry, I just really like dogs. It's cool, Steely.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Excuse me.
August says, Batshit is the Joker. Yes.
Yes.
Draco Kraken says, from mentioning the worms in a Cthulhu, there once was a podcast I listened to where there was a scene where they made a sandwich with rotted meat and they described the maggots popping, still in my brain. Yeah.
Ugh, nice.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Okay. Okay, here we go. And I'll go a step further. Excuse me. This is exactly the state of affairs that I prefer. I don't want the mind of the cosmos itself hovering over my shoulders. The universe not giving a shit about what I do means I can do whatever I want as far as I'm concerned. This is freedom. This means I don't have to follow some path laid out for me to some preordained destination, and I had no say in choosing. I decide what matters to me and follow my own path in getting there. I can fail and get that what I want, but I can't fail the universe itself. So I assume that you're saying that in response to the fact that you think that the universe, like, being a part, like, being uncaring and stuff means that none of what we do matters in that. But, like, in the grand scheme, no, it doesn't, right? Like, it doesn't. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the freedom to do whatever. Even in the stories and everything, all the people have freedom. They choose whether or not to stop whatever it is that they find, or just, like, either that or they can't
stop themselves.
Yes,
exactly. It's that impossibly strong curiosity that we have.
Yes, exactly, that too. But it's also like, or they go so far down to the point of insanity that they can't do anything about it. But regardless of that, they still have a choice at the end of the day to do whatever they want. They can completely decide to look at the thing and go, I'm gonna go home and just never think about this again.
Yes.
Right? And then completely do whatever they want with their own life, have it mean whatever it needs to mean for them, for their life, for the people around them, all that stuff. It doesn't take away their agency. It just means at the end of the day, something could happen that destroys them.
Oh my god.
And that's not necessarily like them, the universe, you failing the universe, or anything like that. It is just the way it is, right?
3 of my Hive Guard are different from my other 3.
Oh.
Like, the molding is different on their back shells. Huh.
Oh, weird.
Interesting. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. So long story short, existential dread isn't something I can experience. The only meaning I look for in anything is personal meaning. If I see value in something, then there can be no question that that it has value, because the only value a thing can have is what I assign to it. This means the deepest form of horror Lovecraft sought to express has no effect on me, which is perfectly fair.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Easily. There we go.
And I mean, hell.
Nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to think if I'm the same way, but I still enjoy letting myself be a part of that world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not particularly frightened by things that can't harm me. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm afraid of heights because you could fall off.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of getting shot because I would get shot. You know, it's that kind of thing. I'm not particularly afraid of the heat death of the universe.
Right, exactly.
or honestly, even like nuclear annihilation. Even though I probably should be, but it just doesn't do it for me.
The difference. Well, the difference becomes like when you are a character in this story, in the world, in the game, whatever. That threat is real and imminent. So you are experiencing that in the moment. If you're reading a work, then it's like, yeah, you could just not be afraid of it. That's fair. That makes total sense
absolutely.
to me. I'm not afraid of it. It's just cool.
That's honestly, in horror games that scare me, like the ones that actually frighten me, I do that. Where I'm like, I was actually playing a Lovecraftian horror video game not too long ago called The Land of Pain. And toward the beginning of the game, you're wandering around an empty village, and basically what I was doing was I was like, because it was creepy, because like you're walking along and then all of a sudden you see the lights turn on in the upper room of this building that was dark, and now it's like, oh, there's somebody there, and that's where they're gonna make me go. Great. So when I go up to there, I'm like, and like I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to go in there. But when I'm playing the game, I'm like, oh, anybody home? Need to use your phone, you know. And so I'm doing this stupid voice to distance myself from the game because I'm legitimately creeped out because I don't want to go in the house.
Yep. And it's also a whole different medium where that immerses you a lot more because you're there, and I assume that's first person as well, which adds a whole nother layer to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Beats of Funk. But yeah, so that being said, most people will refuse to see things the way I do. As a result, Lovecraft will still horrify them. And I can still appreciate the story of a character descending into madness because of the self-important notion that served as the linchpin of their sanity got forcibly ripped out of their brain, leaving them to unravel. It's not an experience I can share, but I can get something out of watching it unfold. And again, that's fair enough. Like, I think all of us who enjoy Lovecraft and the stories of this cosmic horror and all that kind of stuff aren't necessarily afraid of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's not the thing. We're empathizing more so than we are sympathizing.
And cosmic horror, the thing is, a lot of times cosmic horror is very, very difficult to do well.
Yes.
And so it's a very nice experience to have this author who's like a master at it. You know, it's like, I imagine the people that like Stephen King novels are probably similar. You know, where they're like, I love King's. That's why you would say, I love blank's brand of horror. You like their style. And so we just like this style. Yeah. Really.
Hell, I can say for like Dean Koontz, I really like Dean Koontz's work. And he does a lot of thriller kind of stuff where it's a lot of like a guy is chasing you and you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's supernatural, sometimes it's not, but like I really enjoy it because he has this way of describing things and making me feel like, you know, the tension and stuff. It's really good to me. Same thing with, I will say, The Thing, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's more the tension
Paranoia
that's there.
The tension,
the tension that's there, and watching these characters slowly descend into distrust and paranoia and all of that, and how that is the way that they're kept alive. Or when they split up to try to make themselves, you know, a little bit safer, and then it ultimately like fails for them. But like the monster element is great and everything. I appreciate the practical effects and the everything like that. That's all great. I'm not necessarily scared of that, right?
Yeah, because it's so impossible.
Exactly. I'm more there for the people and what they're doing in this situation that I can understand, right?
Yes.
And that's what can maybe make me a little scared of like, oh shit, if this were to happen, this is how it would kind of play out with people.
And I mean,
Right.
Hell, they actually, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
They actually have a tiny little bit of existential / cosmic horror in The Thing.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
toward the beginning they have and you might be referring to something else. But in toward the beginning, when they find the thing and they begin to understand it, and Wilford Brimley is doing like a simulation on his computer about how long it would take this thing to basically eat humanity.
Yes. Yep.
It's like 400 hours or something.
Yes. It's very short. It's very short.
And like, and that's scary because then they're like, oh shit.
And then
this is on us now.
And he makes the decision to make it so that no one can leave or tell anyone about it. Because he knows that it will result in the worst possible thing. And the finality of it is that even at the end, they win in a sense, but there's still no like there's no conclusive thing of like, oh, are they infected? Are they not? Does that doesn't matter. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's the end and there's nothing they could have done otherwise. Like it was always going to end in such a way.
Yeah, and the fact that at the end you don't know.
Yes.
You're still paranoid to the end.
Exactly. And that's the best part, because the mutually assured destruction at the end is just that. Like they accept it at that point.
Yes.
And whether or not one of them's infected, it does not matter.
And I don't know, there's slightly off topic. Sure. If you like The Thing, you should definitely watch The Fog. John Carpenter's The Fog. I really should. Yeah. Yes. If the Thing is all about paranoia and tension, The Fog is all about dread. It's so good. It's really, really good. I like it more than The Thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I love The Thing.
There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah, Lovecraft doesn't really scare me. My own worldview is very different from that world since I'm a devout Catholic. But I can still immerse myself in the stories and the atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And The Thing was amazing. I love that movie. One of the all-time greats. Yes. Lol, that's The Thing. Hey, shut up. Anyway. They might make me sound irreligious, but that's not exactly true. But that's a private matter beyond the scope of this discussion. Yeah, sure.
You brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It doesn't. I just think that you're like, if this is just from the express point of you not being able to see this ever occurring or really make sense of that in that way, like it makes sense that you don't find it, like you're not on board with it. That's totally fair. Just because you don't subscribe to that kind of thought process, I guess. Makes total sense to me, and that's totally fine. Nothing I can do to change that.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Excuse me. Yeah,
you don't like it, that's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't call us racists, please. Then I'll have a problem.
Please don't do the Fate of Cthulhu thing, please. Anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and answer those questions at the end, though, for the sake of having something to say that was actually prompted. For a character, I guess I'd make someone from the FDA, specializing in microbiology. That's about all I've got there. I'd fill it out more if I was really going to play, but those are the bare basics of what I know I would do. Mostly because I would want to use a government agency that people wouldn't normally think of in this context. For a campaign idea, though, man, I really don't do modern day. Maybe make a post-apocalyptic setting where the horrors have already awoken and the world is lost and the remnants of humanity dwell in a single megacity that amounts to a prison as much as a refuge, ruled over by a faceless authoritarian government that in turn is secretly controlled by the alien masters of the world. The people are unaware.
You want to play Renraku Arcology.
The people are unaware of the world outside, and the agency's purpose is to keep it that way. What reason humanity is kept alive at all is a secret, not meant to be known, and those who stumble upon it would find that total annihilation would have been a blessed mercy. Risk assessment could potentially turn into Half-Life, but the PCs probably wouldn't survive going down that road. Outcome unlikely. And I know it's not exactly Delta Green anymore at that point, but when you're dealing with the raving mind of an insane fool, this is the kind of thing that happens. No, it sounds cool.
It sounds good. Yeah. It sounds like Renraku Arcology, really, except not apocalypse, just a separate city.
Yeah. This whole conversation is one of the big reasons TTRPG horror is hard. Everyone has their own fears. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is with horror and fear, you're doing it less for a specific fear. You're not it's hard to scare people.
Yes.
Especially in a text-to-speech, effectively.
Yes.
So what you're trying to do, it's more discomfort.
Yeah.
And it's more discomfort and pulling, and it's kind of the same thing, pulling people out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
In order to solve this problem, you have to go into the monster's cave.
Right.
In order to get this information, you have to sneak into this corporate building that has guards and stuff when you're just a normal dude. It's not like D&D.
Exactly. And there's
in D&D, you just kick the door down because they're all criminals anyway. But in real world, you don't know that. Yeah. And in Cthulhu systems, you're punished with sanity losses for doing bad shit because you're supposed to be the heroes.
And like, there's also, it could even be as simple as you just doing it out of the comfort zone. You just go and you have to go through this place that has snakes. Like, and you just don't like snakes. Like, that's the thing. You know?
Yeah. And like, what I tried to do, I still feel a little bit bad about it, but I don't think you ever had any issue with it, was when we played Call of Cthulhu the first time, the first monster that you guys ran into was a frog.
That's right.
And I didn't design the frog to be...
No, I know.
Like, I added some shit onto the frog, but that was how it was presented in the book.
Yeah.
Straight up, aside from the beard of tentacles.
Right, yeah.
With beaks. Beaks freak me out.
It's fair.
Oftentimes, when I am designing, when I'm working with a horror scenario, like, I'll tell you this right now. In my Call of Cthulhu campaign, I have designed the big bad out of something... off of something that I am personally freaked out by.
Sure.
Because that's all I have to go on.
Yeah, right what you know.
Yeah, and so Seth Skrzkowski put it a really good way. If you, say you have a scene where two characters are standing in the same room, and say you are afraid of spiders, Alejo. Allow me to, if I may.
Please, go on.
Yes. Now, in this scene, you are afraid of spiders.
Okay.
You're standing in a room, and all of a sudden, the person next to you begins to, like, put their hand to their chest as if they feel like they're in pain.
Oh, no.
And then they, it's slowly, they kind of put a hand to, like, the left of their stomach. Like, well, I don't feel so good. And then, like, they start getting... they feel really woozy. God, my head. And then all of a sudden, a tide of spiders bursts out of their eyeballs and their ears and their nose. Yeah. And every orifice in their body starts leaking spiders and their broken off limbs. They burst out of their arms and their legs and they fall to the ground screaming and writhing as they drown in spider ichor in their own blood. Now, let me ask you this. If I described that same scene, but what burst out of them was Roman gold coins, that would also be really fucking scary.
It would be weird. Yeah, it would be so it obviously depends on the person, obviously, but
the thing is, it's that horror. It's still the same
in front
situation.
Of you. Yes.
Yeah. And so you have this unexplainable event happening.
Yes,
it doesn't matter if it's spiders or if it's a completely inanimate object. An inanimate object, a tide of inanimate objects have burst out of this person's body.
Doesn't make sense.
That's horrifying and scary.
Yeah.
Because that's completely unexplainable either way.
Yes, exactly. Like,
and
spiders, I'd be like, oh, it's an organic thing. It's coming out. Okay. But you tell me coins, and I'm like, wait, what, huh?
Yeah. And so, like, now they're, like, they drown in gold.
Yeah.
They drown in gold, and you can hear, like, the clinking of the coins as they burst out of their ears, and there's, like, a pulls off, like, half of their skull, and their brain is just leaking coins, and they're covered in gray matter and shit. How... One of them is very different from the other, but they're both still scary.
Yes, yeah.
And they're both still incredibly evocative.
I would agree.
And so, just because your players aren't afraid of spiders or not afraid of Roman coins doesn't mean you can't make a scary situation out of either of them.
Yeah. And I would also... Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
You have one.
Oh, no, you're good.
Oh, I was going to say, another big part of this is that you have to have your players willing to really immerse themselves, like to a degree that they will play their characters accordingly. That's all.
Yeah.
Because as long as like normal people in a situation that is not normal will not like just go, huh? Most of the time. Sometimes maybe, okay? Like, there are exceptions to the rule, but not all the time you're not going to have people that are just going to go, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because outside of it, I immediately went, oh, that's weird, right? Because I'm outside of the situation. If I were there, seeing a man explode into coins, I would probably be fucking screaming.
Yeah, you'd like stumble back. You'd be on your ass and like scrambling back, covering your eyes and wishing you couldn't hear the screaming and the fucking coins drinkling all over the ground.
More than likely, yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's fair. It's all fair.
No.
Exactly, Draco. Some people might be scared by nameless Eldritch Horrors, which should not be. Some people might be scared of pineapple on pizza. Fair.
One time I had we ordered just a pizza and somehow a little chunk of pineapple got on there, and I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a try. It's not bad.
So I'm told that having pineapple that's not cooked on a pizza is better than having pineapple that is cooked.
Oh, really? Oh,
because every time I've had it cooked, it's not great.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I wound up with a piece of pineapple on my pizza, and it was fine.
I can understand the appeal. I'm just not a fan. And I want so much one day to either play in or hear played Renraku and Arcology. There you go. I heard Spoonie describe it, and it sounded incredible. Yeah.
That's where I heard it from, too.
There you go. And last comment is Steely saying Session 3, Legend of the Updog.
Yes.
Very good.
He's quoting all this shit, and I'm like, what happened in those sessions? I only remember very specific things about those earlier sessions.
I know, right? But yeah, so that's all the comments. About 47 minutes, pretty standard, very good.
That's mostly because of me, sorry.
No, we had a lot to say about the horror stuff. It's fair. Okay, so moving on right now, we are going to be talking about, first off, this system that I have been a part of in helping with testing it out, called Curse. Hey, okay. So a little bit of
Nobody
background.
uses Curse anymore.
A little bit of background. Curse is an alpha game at the moment. Closed alpha. There's no way to get into it, and the creator Vale, they want to open beta when it's like they want to open a Discord server to people when it becomes a beta. That's the plan at the moment. But there is a Twitter that you can follow in order to like see updates and also just stuff from the person, if you want, which I will mention in a bit here after we've taken a look at the actual game. So Curse is, ironically enough, supposed to be horror. Hey, if the name doesn't get you there, excuse me. The horror of it is the setting itself is in it's in like a city in which like blood is used as a currency in a way.
Ooh, okay.
And there's a very notable like societal hierarchy in a way. Like there are people that are the dregs. They have no money, they have no standing, they are nothing basically. Then you have, your middle class, and you have the rich who basically just eat off the poor. There is a class divide. That's what it is. Class divide.
Or a caste system.
Yeah, in a way, yes. That is very much like apparent. Let me put the thing on the screen here. It's just this is version 3. Version 4 is being worked on at the moment. But for now we have this stuff here. So, yes. So, I'll read a little bit of the introduction here, just to get you maybe a better understanding of the setting. The world of Curse is a broken one. Reality bleeds at the edge, and the last real place left has a terrible sickness at its heart. That sickness will touch you. It will carve its way into your soul and set your soul aflame. Your blood will sharpen, and the world will become ash in your mouth. Despite the objective truth that what is left of the world hates them utterly, small groups band together to struggle against it all and try to reclaim something of a future from the jaws of oblivion. Whether driven by a desire to climb that ivory tower, to set the whole thing on fire, or to send a lead slug into the skulls of those you blame, it matters not. All that matters now is how long you can survive, and how long you can hold onto what it means to be you.
Sounds very vampire.
In a way, yeah. There's definitely some inspirations from something like what the fuck is it called? Fate. We were talking a bit, and like I described how I'm not so big a fan of Fate. And they were, and I was like, oh, whoops. But it's fair. It's fine. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff for, let me see about, I think there is a section on actual, like, the world itself.
I actually looked through. There's not.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, okay. So I guess
I hope they come out with it soon.
Right. I'm just going out off of memory, really, at this point. But yes, you're usually in this city that is it's a harbor for everyone there because the outside world is a little fucked. It's
it could be the Renraku arcology.
Right, it could be. Fuck. I can't remember too much about it right now, but other than what I've said, that really kind of encompasses it more. But it is a miserable place.
Okay.
Like, that's as much as I can remember off the top of my head about the actual city. The place itself, it tries to beat you down, basically.
You know what we'll say? It's the city from Blades in the Dark. How about that?
Sure.
Or you know what? How about this? It's what the hell is the name of the city? Fucking hell. Altdorf. There.
Oh. No.
I think Altdorf's actually kind of nice, but anyway.
Yeah. I can see if I can find some stuff on it. Maybe there might be some stuff like, cuz I'm in that Discord, so I can.
I'm so curious about the Olivia Hill rule.
Yeah, I saw that, and I don't understand why it's there. I get it. Like, I get it to an extent, but I also don't know if this is needed.
I guess.
I don't know. It's what it is at this point. I'm not going to dwell too much on it, because I don't know. And I have very little to say on it. On the matter.
Same. It's just strange.
So, okay, here we go. I have the setting of Curse. There we go.
Okay.
Curse takes place in a world that has fallen into total discord. Reality has broken and is now bleeding from the edge, leaving great swaths.
That's the same thing.
No, leaving. Oh yeah. No.
In the introduction, it says reality bleeds at the edge in the last real piece. It might be the same thing, but just written differently.
No, there's some more stuff here.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yes. Leaving great swaths of rotting verity where nothing is static. Space-time and the very laws of nature are all subject to violent impulse of this broken space. There is somewhere that is safe from such chaos, however, the city. The final place where reality actually counts for anything. Built around the mysterious Amaranthine Keep. It acts as a sanctuary for those that dwell within. Better oppressed as a slave to the wealthy elite than left to have your very essence torn to shreds to patch up the wounds of a world decimated. The Amaranthine Keep itself calls to everyone, a place where reality is far more real than it should be. What can and can't be is constantly redefined within its endless labyrinthine halls and caverns. A great many things can be found within, so long as you can make it there in one piece. Of course, getting back out is another matter entirely. Curse deals with... These are major themes. Curse deals with class struggle, what it means to exist in a world that wants to use you as fuel to generate a day's profit, and what it means to be yourself. There's addiction, self-abuse, unwanted transformation. The effect of all these things can have on who you are. And the effect that all these things can have on who you are. It's a grim game, but in all this blood and death, you can fight against it. Even if you fail, even if your bones crumble to dust, with not a soul to remember you, you still stood up for the dream of something better. So yeah. It's also... has swords, magic, and some weird guns and such. Oh, factories made of meat and blood, too. It sounds
like a slightly darker Dishonored, really. It's in that vein.
Yeah, absolutely. So, excuse me. So yeah, we have a bunch of things. So we'll go with some of the races and stuff, or sorry, ancestries and such. That are in this, and then the classes as you see them. Ancestries, here we have Aratin. They are kind of elvish in a way. Or sorry, am I thinking of... No, I'm thinking of the next one, Alphon. Sorry. Aratin are like rat people.
Wait, Murine features? Yeah, thin, hairless tails and sharp incisors. Yep,
they're like rat people.
Yep, they're Skaven.
Yep. And so they, you get these, you have these, things of like your questions of like, are you a streetborn, a spire dweller, an exile, that kind of stuff to give you that kind of, feel of what your place in the world is going to be. Right. Obviously you have your names. You do get trinkets for both being, for both your ancestry and a class. And these are things that are in there so that your GM can kind of use them to pull, to try to get like a hook.
Dude, if I roll and I get a fucking pet insect, it's a Hercules beetle, and I swear to God, if you kill that, I will destroy you.
Oh, absolutely. I would expect nothing more. Yeah, so you can either roll or you can pick, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I know it does, oh no, it does say roller shoes. There you go. But yes, so there's that, and then there's the Alphon, who are very much elvish. They were in forests before, but the forests are long since gone.
Well, okay, so we've got a tier list growing, apparently, because the Skaven get a pet insect, the Alphon get a pet root.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's an animal that called a root.
No. You just have a root as a pet. I think.
Okay. Is it dead? I guess
no,
it's dead.
It's not. No, it's a pet. You're just keeping it. Hey man, you might leave it at home, quote unquote.
Honestly, I want to see if everybody. Oh my God.
What? Oh, all the other ones? They all get something.
Yeah, they all have pets.
Yes, they all get a pet.
Nice, dude. We do have a tier list. Hell yeah. Anyway, go on.
But yes, so the Alphon are now, a lot of them live in the sewers. And tend to, have their thing there if they're not like actually wealthy.
So they are far more, they seems like scary for elves. They tend towards tall, with an average height of their people being around 190 centimeters, coupled with their razor sharp teeth and wide unblinking eyes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Each of the things in this are supposed to be a little more grotesque,
Yeah, I like that.
By the way, humanity doesn't exist. Humans are not a thing.
That's nice.
Yeah. Then you have the Dwaro. Think dwarvish, but they
get a pet rock.
They do get a pet rock because they are originally from the deep, underground, where they eventually where they came from. And now they're here and they're trying to figure out their place in the world. Whether that's trying to go back or whatever.
Oh my God. They have features that could best be described as a mix between large bats and moles with bare skin, except for thick fur that grows on their heads and faces.
Yeah. So, like, not exactly dwarves.
Bat
but, like,
dwarves?
Yeah.
Dude.
Bat mole dwarves. Yeah.
That's weird. They have a bag of teeth.
Yes. They are also.
I have a dog whistle. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's for their rock. It's literally a whistle that produces an inaudible tone.
Yes, true.
Nice.
Hell yeah, not enough scary elves exist. I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that, and they are the newest that are like the newest ancestry to the Haven.
What, Dwara?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love though some of them make mention of strange rooms and hallways buried within the deepest parts of the world containing horrors too fearsome to speak of. So shit exists down there. It's cool.
It always
does. Oruda are bird people.
And they have a pet reptile.
Yes. I am playing an Oruda in the game. He is, well, we'll get to what he is and who he is, and I'll explain him a little bit. But the Oruda are very much bird people that may not actually, like, I don't think they can fly technically. I don't actually know now that I think of it, but I don't think they're meant to fly.
Doesn't mention it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they're meant to be able to fly. Horror races kind of sound cool. Yeah, dude, they're great. But yeah, so there's this thing of like, were you banished from your flock? Like, is this all okay? They're much more thaumaturgy and alchemy, like what's the word? Inclined.
Inclined.
Yeah. And but that is what got them to be where they are now. Like now that what is it? They used to have magnificent floating cities, but now they don't because of that shit. And some of them don't do that at all, because it's like, that got us to where we are. Fuck that. Excuse me. The Voidyani are, that's right. So Voidyani are like fish people in a way.
Yeah.
Right? And so it says, with amphibious features and strange coral growths that extend from their neck and ribs. In truth, these growths are a parasite that during the infant Voidyani's growth cannibalizing their gills and replaces them with external lungs contained within the coral. So it actually makes it so they can breathe outside of water. Some of them don't have this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of them don't have this, of course. They live in water and have whatever they need to get out of the water. But a lot of them live near the sewers, in the waterways, all that kind of stuff. And that's just kind of how they are.
They have a pet crab.
Yeah, they have a pet crab. I love how you're focused on the pets. That's great.
Yeah.
Of course. I understand. That's what everyone looks to, really.
Okay, so that's the last one. So hang on, give me 1 second. I think top tier.
Okay.
I think the top tier pet. It's a little unfair, but I think I'd have to either go with the insect or the crab.
I was gonna say the crab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crab's
the insect or the crab, and the root and the reptile, more like B, and then the rock and the root are F because they don't do anything.
Hey,
you can at least tell your crab, hey, go cut that tripwire.
But it might not be able to. I don't know.
But at least it would have more of a chance than a root.
Hey, man, I could have a really pointy root. Okay, it could be used to cut things.
It's true, you could. But then I could just take the little crab and just like gently maneuver his crab claw in a sawing motion.
Yes, you could.
Those are my thieves' tools. Fuck you.
Actually, what was it? I'll talk about that later, actually. But so but yeah, so that's all of them. And then we have classes, which they have their things that they give. No insect aberration people. So Vale is working on this and is going to add more stuff. Don't you worry.
Yes, this is in progress.
Yeah, this is not going to be the only thing, or the only ancestries. So hey, insect people, Vale, if you're listening, I don't know if you're there somewhere. Probably you'll see this later on, but
oh my god, So classes, you've got core abilities, minor abilities, major abilities, and critical abilities. The peak of your power. All critical abilities require the death of the user in some fashion.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's only the like core stuff right now.
Yeah.
Vale's gonna add more abilities and stuff and rework some of them in order to make them work a little bit better. But yeah, it gets real bad because at that point it's the make or break. You get more powerful, you technically level, quote unquote, but is it good? I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus. That's awesome.
It's that whole risk versus reward thing as well that I very much enjoy. And this is a game that has a lot of specialization as well that you can do. We'll go over it with how you create a character and such, but so the conscript is your like fighter guy basically. You get the abilities to you can ignore a trauma if you get one in a scene, which scenes are basically just like how Vampire is with its scenes, right? It's just that instance wherever you are. You get the ability to buy things a little bit cheaper, and then the authoritative presence, like, force people to
nice
direct that attention towards you. Yep, because you are an authority. But yeah, it's so, and again, you can have it be a conscript of like you're a bastard, you're not, it's whatever at that point. And it really also depends on like your wealth standing too, how good of how good your job is if you have a job, But yeah, so you get some trinkets here, like a map of a place you've been deployed in, or a hip flask, and then you have the equipment where you can have one of a mundane weapon or an uncommon armor and an uncommon weapon or an uncommon weapon and a mundane armor, which there's a whole list of some of them. It's not a lot of them, but it's way later. And then a shrill whistle and tin lantern. And like, honestly, you can play as classes that don't fight. Don't worry about it. Fighting is bad. You don't want to fight. It's a bad time. So Crucible. Let's see. Oh, right. So Crucibles are a living Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's awesome.
You are only alive until that thing basically kills you, and you are now an item. So whatever you're doing with your life.
Oh, wait a minute.
You're using.
Can you use a Philosopher's Stone to like fix your shit?
Well, technically, I guess, but not to like take it out. I don't know.
Yeah, because it says the destiny of the Crucible is to live a short and brilliant life as your body breaks down from repeated alchemical processes.
Yes.
You too can choose to break down the world around you with nothing more than a touch. So then, can I not like just touch a hamburger and be like, "This me now"? And then like I'm healed.
I think there is a limit to it in that sense, because I don't know if you can affect your own body. But
wait, no, not all. You can choose to break down the world around you with nothing more than a touch. Not all choose this way, though. Some deciding to stave off their own fate by taking what they can find and fixing it to their own flesh.
There you go.
Okay.
Answer the question.
Yes.
But yeah, so you're slowly decaying. You're trying to figure out how to not decay so bad.
Your trinket, number 2, a thumb-sized copy of a dead you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Night stealing.
Oh my God, that's such a Pirates of the Caribbean reference. Number 6, your own heart in a jar of dirt.
Oh, sure.
I got a jar of dirt, that thing.
Sure.
Did you not see that scene?
No, I've seen it. I just don't care for pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean specifically. But yes, so it's a whole thing of like, what can you make, and like using that you can kind of figure out what to do with it and all that shit. And I'm sure later on you'll be able to make more stuff. But yeah, it's a whole thing of like, you were made to be this thing.
That's really cool. Imagine if you did like a Warforged that way. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick. You only have like 10 years of your life, right?
Yeah.
Until you break down.
I both love and hate the excuse me, the starting equipment, because it's the third set is a portable set of alchemy tools or a plague doctor mask.
No, you get both. Yeah, you get both.
Oh, you get both.
Yes,
Oh, okay, never
and-
mind. I thought it was either or, because
No.
I'm like, man, that's a hard choice.
Yeah, no, it's only or when it's between them.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, you get both. Don't worry.
Good. I want both.
Herald is kind of like a cleric.
Yeah.
As far as it works, you are more connected to the absent gods, the dead and absent gods of the old world with the words and shit. Inspiring people. It's like a cleric bardish hybrid. And well, actually, more cleric, I guess, because bard would be a later thing. But yeah.
Man.
Well, no. Anyway.
You can have 9-inch nails.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Literally. Damn it.
But yeah, being able to alter the difficulty of some things with the whisper of some words, like
Yeah. That's really cool.
once per week you can receive a vision from your god. Ask the guide 2 questions about an event to occur. They must give you truthful answers in the form of a yes or no for the portent of the divine. So
That's pretty neat.
yeah, so you get that little bit of like, oh hey, God.
It's free clairvoyance.
Yeah.
But
Except
how are they getting whispers if they're fucking dead? They're gone.
dead or absent? Yeah, maybe you got a little bit.
Maybe there's another one. Maybe it's Cthulhu. And he's an asshole.
It could be a new. Yeah, it could be the new. You know.
Yeah, it could be not Thanos. Darkseid.
New gods. But yeah, Maledict is a mage of some kind. It really is more just you're taking this curse and you're using it, to make a lot of magic shit happen.
Yeah, and you're very edge about it. You're
Yes.
the wolf in the field of sheep. Power burns through your veins, and your soul is a bonfire. Your heart kindling.
Well, it's 'cause-
you are hungry, and the
'cause you're-
shattered threads of reality are the finest flesh. Surrounded by lesser beings, you'll prove them wrong, or you'll kill them trying.
You are better
So
than
basically,
everyone else. It's true.
Yeah, it's basically if you're a rogue. If a rogue was a wizard.
Yeah, in a way. But yeah, so this actually, this is the one that lets you have more curse. And
Yeah.
curses, we'll get into later because it comes later. But curse can really fuck you with some of the stuff that it can do to you. It's great.
Yeah, these guys seem like assholes. Their starting equipment is an instrument of torture you can fit in a pocket.
Yeah.
So a Walkman with Friday.
Right, exactly. There
Fit
you
that
go.
in a pocket.
That's it. One of the players in the game that I'm in is a Vodyani and has that little sea urchin that constantly bleeds as their trinket from their ancestry, and they're a maledict, and so they were like, "Oh, can I use that as my torture device?" and Vale was like, "Yes, do it."
Oh, so you were playing with Vale.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's a thing. It's a really cool thing because in this, this is the one where it's like, oh, you don't care about curse, right? Like the curse, you want that shit. You can choose what you get from it,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. Misericord. This is the class that I'm playing.
Okay.
So Misericord is kind of like a bard, except they're really sad.
Yeah.
All the time. They make sorrow filled, songs or poems or whatever the fuck they want. It's really whatever you want to make it. You can make them make happy shit if you want, but I really like playing into the whole being shit and sad.
So you're Eeyore the bard.
Yes, very much so.
Love it.
But yeah, so
God, that's so fucking emo. One of your goddamn trinkets is a tear-stained love letter.
Yeah, dude.
Oh God.
I have for my character, he's an Aruda, so a bird person, Misericord. And I gave him a curse starting out A minor sign starting out, or a minor sign, and which is what you get from curses. Minor, major, and I think it might just be those two for now. I don't actually remember. We'll get to it. But it made him grow a third arm.
Nice.
And so he has a third arm on his back that can't really do much, but he uses it to like hold his harmonica because he's a blues bird.
Okay.
And he kind of crafts his own like little blues kind of stuff going on.
Nice.
And I made it so that he is quite literally he stutters. He's a sad boy. He doesn't want to kill people, though a lot of the people around him do. And there was also there is let's see. There's a quirk. Quirks are a thing. We'll get to them, but there's a quirk that makes it so that if you see somebody, or you can make it so that when you see somebody else taking trauma, you can take trauma for them.
You mean anguish affinity?
Is that anguish affinity? Okay, yeah. So that's
yeah.
part
You can
of it.
reduce stress.
That's right. Stress. Sorry, stress.
Yeah.
Trauma is later. Stress is the thing that I'm thinking of. So you can reduce stress. So he reduces people's stress, and he takes reduced stress. That's the quirk. But he gets healed for less because of that.
I see.
And that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he gains, or his stress goes down a little. No, it's only the reduction. So. But yes, so he's a good boy. He tries his best. It's a good time. Then of course Outlaw is your rogue, very much your rogue. Yeah, Spark of Rebellion, you want to take things, all that shit. You have the ability to have the open market here where you can get anything really, but you have to use the maximum possible for its value. Yeah.
A bullet with your own name on it.
Hell yeah. It's for when you're done.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So very much a rogue-ish character.
Yeah.
Putrefex, another one that I'm super interested in. Putrefexes are gross and rotting and disgusting.
Yeah, they're like Nurglix. Or
yes,
Nurglesque.
Very much so. See you, Juice. Good to have you around.
Yeah, take it easy.
But yeah, so excuse me. Yeah, they have like, they live in the sewers most of the time. They're gross. And what's really cool is Harophagy, which is after ritually killing and butchering an animal, you consume an organ. You transform into that animal until you choose to transform back. That's going to be done once per corpse.
How are you able to eat an organ, man? They're covered, how are you going to get the pipes down?
Thanks. Yes, there you go. But the other thing that's really cool, what I like
what
a lot...
What the fuck?
What?
One of your trinkets is a mushroom colony that replaces one of your own organs.
Yes, you're growing
That's hilarious.
those.
Oh my god.
They're really gross. It's great. And then I love like knowing your roots where you can just go, there's a sewer here. Because there's obviously going to be a sewer most everywhere in this place,
Yeah.
So I'm going to get into the sewer here.
It's
cool.
nice that this city on the edge of reality and all of the world is like collapsing into whatever it is.
Yep.
It's nice that the sewer system is very, very well established in the city. It's not maintained, but
yeah, no. Well, it is
maybe
maintained.
It is,
it's maintained by those who have to live in it, because otherwise it's not going to be maintained and they're going to die in it.
That's very true.
That's the thing. It's unpaid labor.
Yeah.
At least that's how I view it. Stalker is like an assassin, basically.
And you hang out in Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Pripyat, whatever.
Yep. You are the Sword of Fate, Agent of Death, and Avatar of the Hunt.
Everybody's so edge.
Hell yeah.
Ow, I just cut myself on all this edge.
Edge. Mark targets so you can track them easily. When you kill them, you heal all your stress because yup.
And then fate you can just once per session, you can declare a check or a save to just be a success.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Which honestly is really good to do, because it's hard to succeed in this game without there being a complication. Which we'll get to. But yes, Very cool kind of thing.
That's
and then
really neat.
finally, yes, Thaumaturge is another kind of magical kind of thing. This one very magical, where they even have the ability to bend reality.
Damn.
So, like, legitimately with Memory Weaver, once per session, you can tap into the shattered memory of the world and forge a truth. You can choose an event you know of and decide one detail about it that is now the truth.
That's awesome.
I've expressed how I'm a little hesitant about that because it seems a little too powerful. But I guess it really just depends on your DM, yeah. Which I think there should be a little bit of a caveat in there of, like, you know, within reason.
I love Sustained by Chaos, that you can eat a magic item and gain the ability to use whatever it did.
Yes, that is cool.
Until you eat another one.
Yep. So, like, if something is, like, I don't know.
Like a burger or Fireball.
No, I think it's more because these are all like tags, right? So, like, one thing being like hardy. I don't know if that's a tag or not, but like hardy makes it so that you're more, you know, resistant to damage or something.
So like pancakes of hardy.
Yes, pancakes of hardy. You're right.
Well, I mean, you know,
people make those.
It would kind of suck if you had to get. It was like, man, I really want to move speed, but man, I really don't want to eat those shoes.
Well, you gotta. Sorry.
That would actually be hilarious if you played a Thaumaturge that's like, he's like, oh, a gourmand connoisseur, you know, trying to eat everything.
I'm only eating the best magical items.
Is that a cold enchantment? Ooh, could I have just a taste? I'd like to sample the fare. That'd be hilarious. I know it wouldn't fit, but
it would kind of fit. That's the thing. You can make a really wealthy one who is doing that. That's the thing.
I don't know how well like a goofy character like that would work in the setting, because
you get beaten down pretty quick probably.
Oh, do you? Oh,
well, in the sense of like the world itself is just a place where being goofy is fine, sure, but like when you interact with people, you know, how's it gonna go? Are they gonna be okay with you?
Or maybe your character is like, never mind. I won't get into that. It's kind of a long thing.
But yes, so then we have skills and stats. So you have 3 stats: body, mind, and presence.
And hey, there you go.
Yeah.
There's the 3.
Yeah, there's the 3, like I said, way back. And then your skills of evade, explore, fix, harm, influence, investigate, sneak, survive, track.
I like how harm is a skill.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, I have no points in harm for my character. There's nothing that I want him to do to harm.
And I mean, it makes a lot of sense because, like, you know, when you're trying to torture somebody or get information out of somebody in D&D, you just have to roll damage and hope you don't accidentally knock them out or kill them. If you have a skill that's harm, it kind of implies that it's more like learned application of pain.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's the other thing with like fix too. Fix is universal, of like you can fix things or you can fix people. That's literally in the thing. And usually the way this works, from what I have experienced, is you take a stat and you take a skill, and that's what you roll. So it matters on how much you've put into the ranks of these. So usually a difficulty is set for whatever you're trying to do, and your DM will tell you that. Of what the difficulty is, and that is like subtracted. What you need to roll. Yes, that is subtracted. No, it's subtracted from your skill set. So say you have 3 in body and 1 in investigate, and that's what you need to roll, and the difficulty is 2. You can only roll 2 die.
Oh,
yes. So the harder something is, the harder it is to succeed, right?
And the lower the number.
And it also makes it so that not everyone can do everything.
Yeah.
Like, you always get this +1 at the beginning. Sorry, I forgot about that. You get a +1, and then your stat, and then your skill. Sorry, I forgot to say that. So sometimes anyone can do something that's really simple, right? You'll get that +1 of like a difficulty 0 thing, right? And you might not have more than just a body, like a point in body, and then no points in explore, let's say. Right, but it's so simple that you probably won't fuck it up. Okay.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of things to do with it. You know, you got 3 stats and like 9 skills. Looks like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes.
Okay, and yeah, it seems like you can just buy whichever ones you want. You start with your 15 XP.
Yes, and it incrementally costs more. So your first rank in it is 1 XP, your second rank is 2 XP, your third rank is 3 XP. And when you're doing character creation, you can only go up to 3 in your stats or your skills.
Yeah. So it seems like going jack of all trades is not the way to go, as it is usually with most skill-based games.
And right now, wealth is the same way. You spend XP to start with wealth, though Vale has said that wealth will be changed probably in the future. They just got to figure that out, basically.
And I also noticed that there is there's a typo here with the each rank costs an amount of XP equal to its rank. So the first rank costs 1, second one costs 3, and the third costs 3.
Yes, that has been brought up. Don't worry.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, so that's that. And yeah, you and also you can't save up XP for your character creation, and there's no reason to. You just spend it all on that point, and then you have your character, and then you can start like saving XP once you start getting it. But that's when you can actually, start doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then quirks. You can choose up to 2 of them. There's gonna be more, obviously, but you don't have to take any if you don't want to, which is cool. Which I took Curseborn, which allowed me to get +1 to my curse limit, and then 1 sign of my choice, which was the backhand, and then the Bleeding Heart. Heal 1 stress whenever an ally you can see heals for any amount. Gain 1 stress whenever an ally you can see takes any amount of stress.
I see.
That's what I took. Okay, that's what it is. I forget how it works. It's been a while. But yes. Yeah. Wait, I either took that or I took Bleak-Sighted. No, I took Bleak-Sighted, I think. One of the two. I don't remember. I'm not looking at my character sheet right now. I could, and I will.
Okay.
Let me get him out here. Vestalith. There you are. My boy.
Damn. Wretched Fortune. Whenever you roll a success, treat it as a critical success. All rolls have their difficulty increased by 2.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I took Bleak-Sighted. Okay, not Bleeding Heart. That was the other one that I was thinking about. That's right. But yeah, so it's a lot of like these are very much risk versus reward. So
it's nice that you can take up to 2. That's great.
You are not required to, which is great.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then we have the rules of rolling, which, so if you roll your stuff, basically whatever you roll, you take the highest of whatever die pool you have. So if you have 3 that you can roll, you just choose whichever one's the highest. And then 10 is a critical success, 8 to 9 is a success, 6 to 7 is a flawed success, 2 to 5 is a failure, and 1 is a crit fail. Hard to succeed, but that's the point of having high skills, right?
Yes.
In order to have the most amount of die there. And so you can, of course, lose or gain stress with however difficult the situation is. And your stress, once it reaches your stress limit, basically, which is determined by your class, I believe. Or is it your... Let me make total sure. Yeah, it's your class. So, like a... I think... Yeah, if you have a D8 in stress, that is your... Like, you get to 8. And then that's when you break. Let me see if that says it here in stress, now that I'm looking at it. Oh, sorry. No, I'm completely wrong. Excuse me. That's right. So, you roll your stress die whenever you take stress damage. So if you gain 2 stress and you roll your stress die above your current stress level, nothing happens. You're fine.
Yeah, and you're good.
Yes, but if you get under your current stress level, then you take trauma.
I see.
Yes. Sorry. And an interesting thing is that you start as a D8 for a lot of stuff, like in a lot of the classes, but it can be decreased and increased from a D8 to a D4 or a D8 to a D12. Which
not a D10?
Like all the way up to a D12.
Oh, okay.
As far as this says. So yeah, that is that, and these traumas are fucking hard to deal with sometimes. At the moment, my bird has taken stress purely from like doing what he's trying to do to help the group. He has taken so much stress that he has gotten a trauma because he's failed a bit. And gotten cynical. You cannot benefit from allies helping you in roles. Like, oof. That's like there is a mechanic to help people in a role, but he can't benefit from that anymore. Dude. Yep. He can benefit other people, but he can't benefit himself.
How were those chosen?
So you roll 2d10. And if both results are a 1, you go to the next stage of trauma. So it starts at minor. If both of them are a 1, they go to a major.
But what I mean is, like, if, like, say you've you roll and you get, a trauma, how do you choose which trauma you actually get?
Yeah, sorry, I was continuing. When you roll both of the d10s, if you roll them out, that's the trauma that you'll get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So
and then you just ignore the 10s, I guess.
I don't remember. Hold on, let me read this really quick. Whenever you take any kind of trauma, roll 2d10. If both results are 1, then advance the trauma to the next tier and repeat the roll of 2d10. Continue until you roll anything other than 2 1s. I think excuse me. I think that this is chosen by your DM of what works in the moment. Though I don't know off the top of my head if that's what was the case. I think that it needs to be a little clearer in the thing here now that you're bringing that up. Yeah. But I know that rolling the 2d10s and getting 2 1s advances the trauma from being minor to major to critical.
Yes.
Which you could fucking die in critical.
Yeah.
Right? It's really unlucky.
It seems like all the ones in critical are dead.
Yes. Yep. It's just how did you die? Other than that, then there's curse. Now, I don't know if this... Yes. So... In this, it talks about transient curse and like regular curse, I think. In future, it's just gonna be curse. Like you just get curse. Yeah. There was this system of like you had transient curse, which was not as bad, and then curse, which was bad. Yes. And I think it was however much you got. But regardless of that, when you get curse, you can see in the table, it says if you have 1 to 8, you can get a minor sign, and then 9 to 16, you get a major sign. 17 plus is a critical sign. And everyone starts with 10. That's the amount of curse that they can take. And I believe if they get too much of it, they will die. Or something. If they get up to their limit. Like, not die, but like become... unplayable. It's like insanity in that way, Yeah. But there's a lot of cool signs.
Oh right? Yeah, no. Yeah, I see the harrowed limb. You grow a vestigial limb.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can't hold a weapon or shield, but I use it as my harmonica player. Yeah. But yeah, like some of it can be really good, and then
what the fuck? Major sign. Heart-shaped void. You grow a mouth in your chest and it spits out your heart. Gain 12 inventory slots.
Yup.
Okay.
You can just put stuff in your body.
Yeah, Jesus.
No more heart. Don't need that.
Yeah.
You can fly. Hey, you get to be an inverted seraph. Wow, look at that.
Glass bile skin. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool shit. The critical, and so a lot of this you can't get unless you have the ability to get up to that curse, right?
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily want to.
Yeah.
It can be really bad. But yes. Then it goes healing in combat. I'm not certain on a lot of that, but it is literally like a check, and then you do it.
Yeah.
10 is a crit, 1 is stress. There you go. Right? Like, I think with defense, you take away for a measure of how hard you are hurt, for every point of defense you have from 10 and beyond, ignore 1 critical hit from an incoming attack. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
See, yeah, that probably needs a little bit more fleshing out, because again, only 36 pages.
Yeah, exactly. This will all get fleshed out a lot more.
Yeah.
And then, you have exploration, very self-explanatory.
Exploration, range, turn order, light, equipment, weapons, armor.
Yep.
And then stuff,
wealth.
Rarity,
there you go.
wealth.
And
then
wealth is
tags.
Wealth is just like, hey, this is where you are in the world, basically.
And then a very simple table for monsters, animals, humanoids, and things like that. That's cool. And then the appendices
for all the weapons and stuff that you can take right now.
Yes.
So it's very bare bones at the moment, but it has a lot of potential. Like, having played it a bit, it's a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, I hope they keep it up, because like a lot of the ideas that they have are very, very cool, especially the races and the classes. I can't wait for them to do more races and classes.
Absolutely.
I definitely think that one of the things that they should put in is a bit more information about the setting.
Yeah, in the actual thing itself. And I think that's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing about Veil, very much open to criticism and everything. Like, it's great. It's fantastic to
Hey Vale.
Okay. Oh.
You're a shitter. No.
Oh no.
I'm joking. I really, really like a lot of the stuff in this, and I hope to see more, because it's very cool.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, if you look it over and you see anything that you think, like, I'll bring it up, and I can get that to Vale to look over.
I mean, honestly, keep it up with the pets, please. Keep it up with the pets. I love it.
Pets. But yeah, that's Curse.
That's very cool.
You can reach and see Vale whenever they're doing stuff over on Twitter. That's the best way at the moment.
1-800-VALE.
Well, I have it here. It should be in the description as well. The link to their Twitter. Here we go. Let me pull that up for the stream. Vale at Gorepunk Cryptid. There you go.
Gorepunk, I like that.
It's awesome. It's sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to go drop them a follow and look into the Curse stuff that's coming out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay.
So what else do we have on the chopping block?
Well, I wanted to look at a video that was dealing with creating your own RPG.
Right.
But this one is really long, and we've already been going for an hour and a half, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's going to be from How to Be a Great GM. But, of course, before we get to that, it is the midpoint. Yes. It is time. Draco Kraken says, gonna bow out. Internet's being weird. Keep us posted when materials come out. I like the idea of this. Will do. Vale is in our Discord even, so
wait, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Cool. Hello, Vale.
If you
VOD gang maybe.
VOD gang maybe. Yeah, probably. Because it's like 2 a.m. for them right now. It's or something.
Where they live?
In the east. That way, across the pond. But not necessarily like where you're thinking. I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's in that time, in GMT time zone. GMT.
There we go.
+1. There you go. That'll work. That's the easiest way for me to say, because I don't fucking know. I don't. Anyway. So. Let us get to the midpoint now. If you're here still, thank you. First off, appreciate you hanging out. I have some things to say before we go too far into Patreon. We'll get there, but I will say again, if you haven't yet, please do check out the survey thing in the description if you can, and fill that out for us, because I would like for there to be more data for us to work with on future stuff. So far, I've seen that a lot more people want custom dice instead of custom dice bags. That's, you know, it's stuff like that. Like that, and some stuff on future content coming. If you have any criticisms, a potential PO box maybe, you know. Like, it's just to gauge interest on some stuff and see where we're at, and see what people want to work with in that kind of respect. Or if you have any art experience or video editing experience, you know, let us know, because I would like to reach out for some stuff, get some community people into the process a little bit, and that would be cool.
I mean, hey, they're basically free labor.
No, I would pay you, I promise.
I know.
That's part of the Patreon. Hey. Yeah. Anyway,
I just think of the Djibouti Dubs video. It's like, get your kids to do it. They're basically slaves.
That's right. Oh my god. Been lurking for a while. Hey, Indigo. Well, good to see you. Anyway, so yeah, there's a survey out there. It'll be in the description if you're listening to the audio only version, which I find it funny when I put that as a question of, do you listen to the audio only version? I got a couple of things that said there's an audio only version. So
yeah, right.
If you're an audio only listener, please also consider filling out the questions and such. It'd be very helpful for us in the future here. Anyway, that being said, now we'll get to the shilling. Hey, did you know that we have a Patreon? Wow, I just talked about it. That's crazy.
I had no idea. Please educate me on the existence of our Patreon.
Well, it's over at patreon.com/tabletalkdnd, and I've changed it a little bit. Hey, there are 4 tiers now.
Oh shit.
Tier
what is
1,
this new tier?
Well, tier 1 is now a $1. If you want to,
that means I can donate a smaller amount per month?
Yes. That's the whole point, is if you think $5 a month is a little too much, or you just want to throw in a buck every now and again, please, by all means, do so.
And please do it, because if you don't, he's going to make a 50-cent tier.
No, I won't do that. No, I will not do that.
I know. It's fucking right.
But regardless, it's there in case people want to give that little bit, or if they think $5 is too much, and all that kind of stuff. And remember, it's not an obligation. It's just if you want to do it. It is there. You will not be shouted out. I will tell you that. You'll just be shown as a Patreon member.
But don't forget, in the wise words of that Twitch thought,
okay,
if you have $5, if you're watching Twitch, you have $5. If you're watching us, you have $5. I'm not asking for the $5. I'm just saying that you have $5 because I'm not a Twitch thought.
Oh, it's so. Oh, I hate that fucking video.
I know, me too. God.
I hate that fucking shit so much. Yep. God, it's such entitlement. Anyway,
it really is.
So
anyway, was it Pokimane?
No. It was
Alinity.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Alinity. I think that was it.
Cat thrower. 9,000.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, if that's not correct, correct us. If you don't care, I don't either. So
yeah.
Anyway, Patreon. Those at tier 4 now. That is Draco Kraken up at tier 4. Thank you so much. You left a little while ago, but I appreciate you. Thank you. See you in the VOD. Mod Zero, also at that tier 4. Thank you as well. Slazer, also been around. Don't know if you're gone, but thank you for being in that tier. Steely, also, I know you left a while ago, but thank you as well. Hope you continue to enjoy it. And Drake Cross, at tier 3 now. Thank you so much for holding the line, as always, even with bumping you up. And then we have Chris at tier 2. Thank you. Frozen Spaghetti at tier 2. Thank you. And Kill Chrono at tier 2. Thank you so much. So yeah, if you're interested in the Patreon, there are many ways to go find it. Description, all that shit. It's everywhere. You know, find it if you want. Don't worry about it otherwise. And of course, the TeePublic is still out there for stuff. I saw something in one of the responses about something for TeePublic. Or something about a mouse pad or something, I think. I don't know. We'll see. I'll look into it. You know, there are many places to diversify to if things are requested.
I'll take a mouse pad if we can get one that has like a big tit goblin on it.
Oh, hell. Well, that's already out there probably, and it's not gonna
It probably is, yeah.
But
it's
anyway.
not ours.
Yeah, I know, it's true. Or regardless,
big tits Arnanar.
Oh, God. But yes, so that is that. You can go there, get some stuff if you want. Please do if you want to. It's another way to support us and actually have something physical to have in your presence. Other than that, hey, consider subscribing if you're new. Consider all that stuff that you're supposed to do to YouTube videos. I'm gonna start figuring out trying to do a new way to do thumbnails and stuff, and figuring that shit out, and like doing better titles that are going to be more appealing, because let me tell you, after 2 years of going the name of the show, which takes up like 70 fucking characters basically, you know, it's a lot. And then
don't worry, I know that pain.
Yeah, so you know, I'm gonna figure it out. Considering
I haven't known it for a while, but I do know it.
Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. So things will change in the future. That will be season 4. Don't worry, we'll get there. Season 4.
The second redemption arc.
We've been in season 3 for like a year.
Yeah, it's been a long season. It's been a good season.
It's been a good season so far. Yeah, I'd say so. It's been a horrible fucking year, but it's been a good season.
Yeah, it's so we're on. Okay, we're at fucking. Oh, we're just about to finish Stardust Crusaders, and we're about to go into fucking the other one. What the fuck was it called?
I don't know.
What the fuck? Shit. What was it? It's not Stone Ocean.
I don't know.
It's not Golden Wind. I should know this. Hang on. Now I gotta stop painting and figure this shit out. What the hell is season 4 called? Because every time I think of it, I just think it's the Josuke one and also Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town.
Gotcha.
JoJo. Season 4. What was it called?
Great question.
What the fuck was it called?
It won't tell you. You'll never know. You'll be cursed at this point.
Wait a minute.
No knowledge for you.
Diamond is Unbreakable. That's
There it is. Diamond
Hell
is Unbreakable.
Yeah. Diamond is Unbreakable is fucking good.
Anyway,
so we're about to go into Diamond is Unbreakable, which is awesome.
That is true. That is true. But yes,
I call Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, thank you everybody for all that, and we will now move on, because I don't think there's anything else.
I don't think so.
No, not right now. Maybe I'll think of something in the future, but let's move on to the video. We've had enough of looking at things and talking about things. Now I can do other
things while I'm listening about things.
Right. Oh, by the way, those of you who were around for the painting stream, and those of you who have watched it in the VOD, if you have, I don't know, thank you. That was cool and fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Gotta do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm back into painting.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Let me bring this up right here. Right here. Okay, this is 7 things you should know when making your own TTRPG by, How to Be a Great GM. Boo. Are you in the watch together?
Oh shit, I'm not. Hang on.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but Aiden too sleepy, so he go sleep.
Yeah. We never mentioned it. We kind of just covertly were like, yeah, we
right. Yeah, we were just like, oh no, it's cool, dude. You know, go to sleep. It's fine.
Yep.
You will work in boy.
Okay. Ooh. It's the only problem I have with my headphones right now. I keep rolling over the damn cord, and I'm like, I'm gonna ruin these.
I have a really long cord, so I'm totally okay now.
Okay, now I am in.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what we should know.
Yes.
You want to make your own TTRPG. You want to join the ranks of those who have influenced and twisted the little minds of players all over the world. Yes, it's a good ambition.
Oh, so when was this made?
This was made. Great
This
question.
was December 18th, 2020. Okay, so fairly recent. So it should be one of his good ones.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That's the hope.
Can you actually... How easy or how difficult or what should you even be thinking about when it comes to creating your own TTRPGs?
So I want to say right off the bat, what I would go for is starting with like a system that I really like, right?
Like to model it off of?
Yeah, to like take inspiration from, because like a D20 system or, you know, a D10 system or a skill-based system or a combat-focused system, you know.
Or like class-based.
Class-based, yes, that's the one. But yeah, so like any of that kind of stuff, or an amalgamation, you know, it really depends. Do I want this to be more combat-focused or do I want it to be more narrative-focused, you know? Like, there's a lot of questions for that, and I would say that's your first step.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most important ones to make, because that kind of dictates how you're going to do everything else.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to today's episode. My name is Guy, and we're going to be looking at how to make your own TTRPG, or at least we're going to be looking at it in broad strokes, because there are so many different components that one can go into when making your own TTRPG that it can be quite daunting. So in this overview video, if you like, we're going to be exploring sort of things about what kind of decisions you should make before you even start writing out the new rules that you have come up with. So that's what we're going to that's what we're going to be going through today. Now, if you do want to see more videos on how to make your own TTRPGs, let me know in the doobly-doo down below, because, well, that's the only way that we know what you want to see. That's true. So I can't guarantee that you'll get it before, say, mid-January, but if you are interested and you do want to know, let us know. And whilst you're at it, hit that like button, and, well, you might as well hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss out if I do a second video that I do for you to do.
A very rare time where he said it in the first minute. A very rare time. Feels really weird.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's get straight into it. Okay, so first step number one. Uno, ichi, ein. Number one, what is your goal in writing the TTRPG? Why are you even making it? Are you trying to improve upon something that has already been made? So you're going, well, we've homebrewed this system so much that it doesn't even look like the original system, so we might as well make it our own, and that way we can get rid of all of those old legacy things that we included and just start from scratch. So we're making something, we're improving something. Is it or an? I got stuck on or an. Is it a wholly new and completely different idea? You've decided, you know what, this whole dice thing is nonsense. From now on, we're going to be rolling grandmothers, and whoever's grandmother rolls the furthest succeeds in the task thereafter.
Sure.
You can come up with all kinds of crazy things, and there are TTRPGs out there that use dice. They use cards, playing cards. They use bespoke dice. They use bespoke playing cards. They use Jenga towers. They use pickup sticks.
Dice?
Yeah, I was just wondering that. Hold on.
Yeah, is that a thing? I've never heard that.
Dice. Dice.
Sorry to be the uncultured swine.
No, me too. Don't worry. Bespoke dice. What are these? What is the difference here? I don't understand. What? No, okay. What is a bespoke? I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. It's not telling me. Google is failing me right now. Okay. Somebody let me know. I have no idea.
Bouncing balls. They use car license plates. Yes, that is how I used to roleplay on the road. You use car license plates to give you your numbers. All kinds of
Oh my
craziness that
God.
exists out
That's
there.
brilliant.
Yeah, I like that as a road trip kind of game.
That's awesome.
That's
oh my God.
That's super cool, actually.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It allows us to explore options and go, that was a dumb idea. We won't use that one again. So either you are improving upon an existing system and creating a new one out of that, or you're starting from scratch. Either way, you need to know why you're doing it. Is it to have fun?
There
Is
you go.
it
Okay, I was
to
waiting
create
for it.
something that allows you to tell a story better? Why are you doing this?
To make ourselves miserable.
I was gonna say, it was taking them a very long time to say, oh, I just want to do it for fun, because it sounds like a fun time. And I was getting very worried, but we're there, so I'm no
You remember
longer
when
worried.
we fucking made that class for no reason other than it was fun?
Yeah! Good
That
old
was fun.
Astral Sorcerer. Man.
Now available for 50 cents a
It's
PDF.
not a
I know,
paid
I know.
thing. It is definitely, you can find it on our Discord. Join our Discord. Hey.
Yes.
Why are you doing it? You have to be able to answer that question right up front. Now, when I look at the role-playing games that I have designed, or am still working on, I should say, oftentimes it was a case of, well, I really want to play Dungeons & Dragons, but I want to play it in the Wild West. So I need to invent rules for firearms. They didn't have them in the second edition very much. I want to include rules for shooting off of horseback and all those kinds of things. Or I really want to do a nautical campaign rule set. This was also second edition Dungeons & Dragons, where they didn't have naval combat. So you had to, we tried to figure out how to do it. And again, 20 years later, we finally did do it. And I'm quite happy to say it worked out quite well. So there it was, improving a system. Starting from scratch, I've been tasked by my significant other to try and come up with a rule system that doesn't involve any numbers. No mathematics at all. Merely yes or no outcomes. That's an interesting one. That's more of a mental puzzle than anything else, because my immediate reaction was, don't be silly. Every role-playing game out there uses some form of mathematics, except for those that don't. So how do they work?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you do a purely narrative campaign in a purely narrative, like, system that does not use some sort of weird, I guess, any kind of randomization, other than does the DM or GM or whatever decide that it happens? I don't know of anything that are like that, to be fair.
Yeah, because one of the only other ones that I'm familiar with in terms of like ones that don't use dice are the ones that use cards. And obviously that's random to an extent.
Yes.
But those don't use math. Not really.
That's true.
It's like, it's more, well, I mean, I suppose it would depend upon your definition of a math thing, because once you start saying you need a blank to do this, is that math?
Well, so now we're further boiling it down to the not using numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which that makes it very simple. It's like, okay, whatever you're doing, and like you said, yes or no. You know, in that case, it's a yes or a no. Does it make sense in the moment, or does it not? I guess is really what it comes down to. And like,
I suppose so.
It's an interesting thought experiment. At least from my standpoint, I think it would be fun to do as like you sit around, you're having you know what? I'll use the fucking cursed term, beer and pretzels.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel like it would be perfect for something like that, where you just don't feel like getting it too into it, and you're just doing. It's like Everything Is John, if you've ever played that.
No.
Okay, so in college, before we did D&D, we were introduced to Everything Is John, or Everyone Is John. Sorry, Everyone Is John.
Okay.
And basically it was, hey, John is alive in his life. What is he doing? You are the voice in his head telling him what to do. And there are many other voices competing in his head to tell him what to do. And you used poker chips at this point. It was poker chips to influence if your decision was going to be what he did next. Right?
Okay, so that sounds kind of like Twitch Plays Blank.
Exactly, right? Like it was like
RPG by committee or something.
Yeah, it's like a voting system of like, hey, do you, like, and it'll continue to a point, and then a vote will be called, quote unquote, right? Of like, how much are you willing to bet so that John can come in, and if he accomplished certain tasks, you would get a chip back, right? And it would end when he either died or whatever, you know. It really, most of the time it ended when he died. I know
because people were being shitters.
Well, no, it was because he was doing really cool stuff that killed him.
I see.
Like legitimately we got him to suplex Cthulhu into a couch.
Okay.
That was a thing once.
Nice.
It was just a thing. It was neat, you know.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and it only used that little bit and just like us saying, "Hey, John, hey, you want to go to work today?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I guess I want to go to work today." And then something would happen, and then your GM would say that things are happening, and then it would become a random situation of like, "Oh, while you're going to work, while John was going to work, his car broke down. What is he gonna do now?" And it's like, "Oh, hey John, you see that old lady on the bicycle? Yeah. Go push that old lady off the bicycle and take her bicycle."
Nice.
Right? Like
I like it.
Yeah, it was a lot of shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I can think of. Pizza Funk says,
pretty funny.
"I think choose your own adventure novels do this." No, they use numbers because pages.
Yes.
But no, it's basically the same thing in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with doing something that's purely yes or no, it is something like what I was saying with Everyone is John. Something like that.
Well, with his thing, I think it's exactly what I said, so I'm right.
Ah, yes, that's true.
Is that what you're saying?
You're right. Yeah, that's what I was saying entirely.
Just making sure.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so you have to choose your reason. Why are you trying to make this game? And if your best reason is because I wanna, I'm not entirely sure that's going to help sustain you, because this is a long and arduous process, and you are going to have more people telling you what's wrong with it than you are going to have people telling you what's right with it.
So then just do it until you do it, like, just because you don't...
A desire to do something is the basis for it.
Let's call passion into question here, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
if you
I don't have
to...
I don't have to spend 2 years writing a Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah.
I could just run whatever I want. But I want to.
I assume what he's talking about is personal commitment.
Yes, that's fair. And that's fair.
Yeah, you already know if you're going to be committed to it or not. And if you're dissuaded, then you're dissuaded. But you might as well try.
Yeah.
You know?
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
And wanting to is where it starts.
Because they're not going to comment on that. They're going to say, "Oh, I didn't like how this worked." But what did you think about the rest? Oh, the rest was fine. It was great. It worked well. And so I'm not saying anything about it. I'm only telling you what I don't like. So it is a long journey.
It's important.
You need to stick to your core principle. And then, and this was insight that I learned from working with a good friend of mine. I've worked with a couple of friends trying to create role-playing systems. They've always fizzled out and died because our goals, why we were making these things, were dissimilar. They were not in concert. I had a goal for a simple system. The other partner had a goal for a system that was so simple it was beyond simple. It was, you only have 5 skills for everything? I'd whittled it down to 20. You want 5? That's very, very different. So again, knowing what your goal is very important.
Okay, so in that case, I would then say, did you not talk about it beforehand to a degree where you understood where each other was going?
Yeah.
What? Come on, man.
Where's the community? Clear and I'll have to say it because Aiden's not here. Clear and open communication.
Yeah, honest and open and clear and just come on, man.
Yeah. All the buzzwords.
Point number 1, 2.
Okay, enough.
Twier, zwei, nie.
Thank you.
Point number 2 is you have to choose your genre. Now, why do I say this? There are a few systems out there that are generic. You can use them for medieval settings, for fantasy settings, for science fiction settings, for modern day settings. You can, but they oftentimes require tweaking.
Oh no.
What I find generally helps me a lot more when creating a basic rule system is to choose the genre that you most enjoy playing in. Because what that does is that allows you to unlock all of the information that you have in your head for the other role-playing games that you've been playing, most likely from the same genre, because you now can take those rules, take those things, look at what they did, look at your system and go, okay, I can use that, I can use that. If you go with a generic system, you're then going to be struggling to try and reconcile how do you fly a Boeing 747 versus a Star Destroyer versus then casting magic. So you're starting to try and juggle a lot of different mechanics and it can become overwhelming. Whereas if you choose to do simply a fantasy setting, well, now the only thing you have to worry about is magic, not necessarily all of the components about flying or about sailing or about high-speed impact crashing and the like. So choose your genre. That is definitely.
Okay, so I know what you're saying, but at the same time, you might also consider those. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I understand work from what you know or what you want to play. You know, like what I was saying, where you choose a system beforehand that you want to maybe emulate, right? Like, or you can make something entirely that you want to do on your own. You know, but using a dice system at the very least will help you in a lot of ways, you know.
Yes.
And we've talked about it before, but D&D can be played in any setting, right?
Yes, it's not the best at other settings, but it can be done.
Exactly, right? Like, it is totally possible. I've seen in many cases where it works just fine, and it's still just as fun and cool for the people who are playing it and people who listen to it or whatever, you know?
I remember a fucking Puffin Forest video where he mentioned that their D&D characters, went to New York.
Yeah.
Because they went through like a time warp or something.
Yeah, sure.
I remember that.
Exactly. Like, so if you want
I understand because at least when you're working with a singular thing, you can focus on it.
Yes, true.
And so it's easier, especially if it's your first time making an RPG.
Yes.
But yeah.
But there are some things that you might still.
This is probably a video that's more geared to people who are trying for the first time.
Even so, I think what we're saying is still very much applicable.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
My advice. Number three is about choosing how you are going to determine outcomes. Now, this might seem a little bit backwards. Shouldn't you try and work out what the system is first? No. Because your outcome resolution is going to be, I think anyway, your guiding light in terms of what mechanics you should be using anyway. So is it random chance? Is it just roll a die? Maybe you can add some numbers to it, but ultimately it's just coming down to random chance. You succeed or you fail. Is it interpretation? So there are games that I have played where there are no dice, and it is interpretive. Well, you wanted to fix the wagon, and you did say in your character history that you used to work as a wagon wheel maker, as a wagoneer. I don't know what is the official term for someone who makes wagons. I want to say croupier, but that's a cooper, but that's a barrel maker.
Oh, no. Yeah,
nonetheless, you have some background in wagon wheel fixing, or you're going to steal a wagon wheel off of another wagon, and so you can see how it's done. That gives you +3 to your option. The difficulty was 2, and so you succeed. So you're interpreting the outcome based on some values that you have in your character sheet. Sure. It could be quite literally beating values. So I have 5, you have 2, I succeed. No dice unnecessary, it's a straight up comparison. Or it could simply be, do you have the skill pathfinding? Yes, then you can track anything regardless of the situation. It could also be through agreement. I have played games where everybody votes on whether your outcome succeeds or not. It's not a very fast system, and oftentimes the people involved might vote yes because they want you to succeed because they have a vested interest. Sometimes they vote no because it's going to be comically interesting, but narratively destructive. Or is it perhaps a point allocation system? Well, this round you have 10 points. You can spend those however you like. You can spend 1 point to defeat my 2 difficulty. You'll fail. You have to spend 3 points. That leaves you only with 7. So you've got to guard knowing that you're going to run out of points. Whatever the mechanic, there are multiple ways of resolving an outcome. There are multiple ways of determining an outcome. Why do you need this though? Why do you need to determine an outcome? Well, to put it quite simply, that's part of our game. It would be like saying, well, you could play soccer without a ball, but I'm not entirely sure how you'd keep track of who's winning and who isn't. If you leave it up to the players, they're both going to claim victory. So you do need to have some kind of resolution, some kind of effect that you know is going to allow you to determine the outcome. Why do we do this first before we do anything else, like determining the mechanics, the skills, if you're going to have skills, all those kinds of things?
We're not doing it first. We're doing it third, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess.
I think what you mean.
If we're talking about just purely mechanical, then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do we do this first? Well, we do it because it's A, going to inform us in terms of what our system is going to be using.
I agree.
But B, it puts us in the right mindset. So if we are going to be using some random decision-making process, we then know that our mechanics should be aligned to a random process.
Yes.
And that they shouldn't become definite yes or no's, which would be more towards perhaps an interpretive situation or towards a value system. So we need to know exactly how we want this to play out. Should it be gimmicky? Do you want to say, well, I want a system that no one else has ever done before, so we're going to be rolling stones, and we're going to have little green stones and red stones and blue stones, and you have to roll them over a circle.
So dice?
And the stones that remain in the middle of the circle are the stones that count. The ones that roll out the sides count against you. You deduct the ones from the sides from the ones in the middle, and whatever's left, that's your score. That's entirely up to you. If you feel that that's the most practical way of resolving your particular conflict, then that's the way that you do it. But remember, you've got to go back and ask yourself, well, does this fit within the genre? Because there are some games that use playing cards, and they use playing cards because there's a Wild West kind of flavor, which is where poker comes from, so it's thematically relevant. There, it's a chance, it's randomness, you're drawing cards, and then you're trying to influence that randomness, but it's still a random generator, effectively, it's just using cards. There are other games where it has nothing to do with the system whatsoever, it has nothing to do with the genre whatsoever, it's just a fun, cool mechanic. And those are one-shot type adventures that you play when you have nothing better to do and you don't particularly care about the story. And then you want to look at how does that...
I really would have preferred an example more than you just saying that, because I don't know of anything like that. And I want to know what you mean in that case, because if it's something that's so inconsequential that it makes it dedicated to a one-shot, I want to know and see if it's something that could be used that's not just dedicated to a one-shot.
Yeah. Not to mention, that concept sounds interesting all its own. This is a system that's so out there that it's only used in one game.
Yeah.
Where nobody else uses it. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah.
Fit in terms of why you wanted to make this game in the first place. If you get frustrated because the dice are always rolling against you, what's the point of using another random generator system if it's going to be doing exactly the reason why you didn't like the first system in the first place?
Yeah.
So it's time to then stretch your wings and go, okay, we're going to go somewhere else now. We're going to go looking somewhere else. We're going to go do something else. That becomes incredibly important. Number four, mechanics. Now we finally get down to it. The actual mechanics. So you've determined this is going to be, let's say, a yes or no. It's going to be yes or no. That's the only mechanic we're doing. And that's what my partner has asked for. A role-playing game that is just yes or no. What mechanic do we then employ? How do we determine yes or no? Is that a heads or tails? But that's more random than just a straight up yes or no. So we don't want any kind of mathematics. And when you're flipping a coin, there is a statistical probability of a yes or a no. Mm-hmm. So that's still a random value. Whereas if the outcome is either a flat yes or a flat no, then there is no probability it is either yes or it is no. We do not have any Schrodinger's cats running around. So when we look at the mechanic, we go, well, that means everything then has to boil down to yes or no. Does that mean that we're going to have skills? Whereas you have a cooking skill, or a driving skill, or a photography skill, or a fighting skill?
I would say yes.
Or does that mean that rather than having that, we're going to have a collection of abilities which, when added together, no, we can't have mathematics involved. So we're going to have a collection of abilities that are either yes or no scenarios, and that will allow us to determine our exact outcome.
That's exactly what a skill is.
Yeah, that's a skill.
This is exactly an ability that you have. I mean, unless you're saying specifically like an ability in the sense of something that you can do that
just says you do this.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
do this, like safe cracking, and it's not something that you roll. It's just you can crack safes.
Right. In which case, it's the same thing even then, because it's like you either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Right. You either have a skill that says safe cracking, or you have something that says you can safe crack.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what the difference is. It's
still a yes or a no.
Yes.
Technically.
Exactly. It is entirely a yes or no. If we're going by purely, I'm just trying to figure out what the difference there would be. Even.
Yeah.
If we're going to differentiate it, then there needs to be a tangible, or not tangible, but at least understandable difference.
Yeah.
There are role-playing games out there that don't have any skills whatsoever. They simply have your abilities and your disciplines, and you derive from that whatever it might be to solve that particular skill.
Please give
me
an example.
Do you see how important it is to have defined how your role-playing game is going to work?
No, overall, the point is solid. The point is valid.
Yes.
It is exactly what we were saying. I just need better examples here so that I can have this stuff illustrated to me in a way that I can make sense of it, you know? Like, having those examples is something that will completely ground me in these kinds of systems that I will know, and then I can draw from, you know?
Yes.
Like, that would be helpful. Sure, I can go looking for it, but I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to search, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and not really even giving like a hint as to what you could search.
Right. Like, I want to say I could probably put in TTRPG with no randomness or no skills, or that kind of stuff, but let me do that right now. Maybe
see
that
what happens.
Yeah, TTRPG with no skills. RPG.
I guess it would be something similar to like Fate.
That still has. I thought that still has skills. I don't remember that.
It has stunts.
Stunts. That's right. Oh,
I don't know if those are technically skills because they're just something that you do.
Maybe it's not then. RPGs with no predefined. This is a Reddit post. Skills, stats, proficiencies. Excuse me. Let's see if anybody says. Roll for shoes, although not a full game, has the idea. You start with one skill, do anything 1. When you use this skill to do anything, you might branch this and specialize more. It would be like, do anything 1, athletic 2, running 3, 100 meter dash 4, 100 meter dash in a sports competition 5, and so on.
Okay.
Huh. That's interesting.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. So it's just building up. It's basically, you have this skill that you build upon over and over, though that's a skill.
That is still a skill, though.
No one starts with no skills. That's true. What you want is Hero Quest 2nd edition. There are no predefined anything, not even a little. The quirk is some abilities are standalone and others are packages called keywords that let you cascade other things from them. For example, if you write an occupational keyword wizard, that would give you a wizard ability of, say, 18. And then you might have individual skills or spells under that. They'd only matter if you raise them, though, so I might have Fireball +1 or Speak Draconic +2, giving me a rating of 19 and 20 respectively in those things, and an 18 in everything else the table/GM considered wizardly. Sure, okay.
That's still skills.
I was gonna say, there's still the use of skills in that.
Yeah.
Fugue by James Wallace?
You mean Fugu?
Fugu, Creative Commons licensed. Such a system. Characters start out with amnesia, knowing only their mother language. Over the game, you can add freeform skills by telling a flashback story the character suddenly remembers from their former life, with the restriction that those stories have to be coherent with the other flashbacks that came before them. Alternatively, you can tell a story involving your PC and another PC at a table, giving them an ability. So you're not only gaining skills while playing, you also build the backstory of your character. Initially, your character sheet is completely blank. You don't even have a name. Okay.
Okay, I mean, still skills.
I want something with literally no...
I don't know if that exists.
Yeah, with only abilities. Because it's an interesting thing. I want to know if it's been done.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to tell you, it probably hasn't.
I don't know. Well, I see RPGs without abilities but with skills. Apparently there's a difference there. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm dabbling with a game design that doesn't include abilities or abilities as per D&D, but has various levels of skills, broad groups, and more tight focuses / specialties. I'm wondering. Okay, so the difference here is what you were saying. It's something that tells you that you can do something, or having the ability to do something. That's the difference between an ability and a skill.
Yes.
But when we go with the yes or no, at least with the yes or no scenario, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, if you have an ability that says you can do a thing, that's the same way as saying you have a skill. No, you know what? I'm wrong. An ability would make it more predefined, more focused, more narrow. Because you can't say, let's say you have an ability that says you are great at cooking baking cake. Sorry. Wow. Anyway, you're great at baking cake, but a cooking skill would encompass everything.
Yes.
But you would be able to bake a cake very well if you had the baking cake ability.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only difference that I can see. In which case, anyway. Yeah, that's if I'm on the right track, somebody let me know. Mm-hmm. And also, Fate has skills but no attributes. There you go. That's
okay. That's how it's the other way around again.
Apparently, yeah. Anyway, so maybe we're just pulling at shit that doesn't matter. I don't know, but it's just something that interested me for a second.
Mm-hmm. In terms of its outcomes, before you start looking at anything else. So in a yes or no type of scenario, I can't see that...
I think, actually, before we go to... I think ultimately it actually really determine... Like, it's very important for you, if you're making something like this, to determine what is what. Like, actually understand what is a skill and what is an ability. Like, come to those conclusions. That way you can differentiate that. Like, yeah. I hope if anybody finds this in the future and, like, for some reason takes advice from what we say sometimes, that this is something that if they didn't already realize, hopefully they already did, but maybe it helps jog their memory about it, of, like, actually differentiating and trying to figure out what terms mean what, because defining your terms is very important in most things.
Yeah. You've been to college, you know.
Anyway.
Is that still something they say? Define your terms?
I say that. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if other people do. You think I've been in a fucking debate class or writing class in forever?
Yeah, right.
Are going to be particularly useful here. You can drive, yes or no. Okay, so that does solve that question. But can you drive better than somebody else? In this case, there can only be an answer of no. Because whether you have been driving for 1 month or whether you have been driving for 6 months, you can still drive. There is no gradation, there is no differentiation. So perhaps then we don't need skills. Perhaps we need something else. And so that's how the journey goes. Now that we're in the mechanics phase, we're now starting to say what will allow us to determine whether you are a good driver or a bad driver or a better driver. Do we need to even have the definition of better driver?
Okay,
so there are a lot of things that then come into play as we start to examine that.
So I'm running with his yes or no thing, because this is very interesting to me. So this then depends on what genre he's picked and what his goal is. Because, like, is this something in which we're playing through a story that we are coming up with ourselves that has no particular end goal, right?
Mhm.
Because if we're overcoming an adversity in some way, then you need to know whether or not you're better at something than somebody. Because
Yes.
at some point, you might have to clash with somebody. Is there going to be that case? If there's no case like that, then there's no conflict. And if there's no conflict, what is there? You know? Are we just going to go, this is a slice of life, and there's nothing to do? Right?
Yeah, other
Like-
than normal life stuff.
Right, exactly.
That would
Like,
be an interesting RPG to play, just a
It would-
slice of life.
Yeah, it would. Well, so even in a slice of life, you have conflicts. I have to go to the
Absolutely.
store. I have no money to get gas.
Yeah.
Right? How am I going to get to the store? That's a conflict. It's a problem you have to overcome. And so, like,
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that slices of
No,
life
no, I
don't
know.
have any conflict. I'm just saying it'd be interesting to play a slice of life.
absolutely, you're absolutely correct. It would be so interesting. It's like when we were talking about doing a business in D&D, right? Like, playing through a business. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Once you have decided, okay, so the characters are going to have the ability to choose yes or no. There is no mathematics involved. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie that to, let's say, 12 abilities. Each ability is going to cover a specific area within this role-playing game. If you have the ability, whatever you're attempting to do, the answer is yes. If you don't have the ability, whatever you're attempting to do, the answer is no.
Sure.
That's it. Straight up. There is no gradation. There is no better or worse. There is just yes or no. So in step 5, we now test our system. Not with friends, not yet. We're not going to get them involved just yet. We still have to make some tweaks, some adjustments on our own. And the very first one we're going to do is we're going to test it against a standard possible scenario. The character using your role-playing system must climb a cliff. How would they do it? In my yes or no type of game, it would be, do they have a physical skill? Yes. Then they can climb the cliff. Or perhaps it's a dexterity skill, or perhaps it's a mountaineering skill. I don't know. I haven't worked out the minutiae yet. But if the answer is yes, then they climb the cliff. Perhaps it isn't even a question of having the ability to climb. Perhaps it's a question of gear. Do they have grappling hook and rope? Yes, they can climb the cliff.
Yeah, you're adding
So
a lot more
that is
Yeah,
then
you know,
what you test.
actually, now that he mentions that, I think that's how you could do it.
Mhm.
If you wanted to have an RPG with no skills,
Mhm.
and you just wanted to be able to do stuff, you base it around gear.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you don't need to have a rock climbing skill. You just need rock climbing equipment.
Right.
Now that starts
Now-
to begin. You will start having issues of realism because
Yeah.
most I don't know 15-year-old girls probably can't climb a cliff even if you have all the proper equipment.
Yeah, right.
But
like,
that's
so-
how you could do that.
I mean, so I was gonna go even more basic. You might have never seen a rock climbing equipment set. How do
Yeah.
you use that?
Yeah, that's
Right?
another
Like,
thing.
no matter who you are, right?
Yeah.
That's where I would go. And like, you could learn how to use it on your own, but you could probably die from trying to figure it out. You know?
Yeah, well, if you're using it on a
If you're using it in a dangerous
wild-
environment, sure. But if you're using it, like, let's say you've never seen one, you don't know how they work, and you need to use one now to get down a cliff because you need to in this urgent situation.
there
know?
you go.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, have fun.
So, like, and so that's exactly where I was going to go with it, of, like, the realism of these kinds of things of, yeah, I've seen a gun. I've never held a gun. I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you if I could shoot a gun well. I could
Yeah.
probably shoot a gun, but I don't know if I could do it in a way that works well, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't
'Cause
know
guns
proper-
are made to, most things like that are usually, thankfully, made to be simple enough
Exactly.
for people to figure out.
Yeah.
But still, you might still have some issues because the thing is, if something like that is built to function easily, the problem will be if it breaks.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if something is designed to be simple, that means that that design is intricate.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless it's something bare bones, like a wheel.
Right. A rock to use to cut, like
Yeah, a rock to break a window or something like that. Once you
stuff
start
like that.
getting more technical,
Yes, once we add more complexity to a thing, then it at least for you and I, it will start raising the questions of how realistic is this going to be?
yeah,
Right?
and then that poses a whole new problem.
Exactly. And so, which is part of the whole making the system, like how realistic are you going to make your system?
Yeah.
Is it going to ask the question of, yes, you have this, but can you use it?
Yes.
Right? In which case, I then would go, that's where skills come in.
Yes.
Right? Because that's where you determine whether, or an ability or whatever, like that's where you determine. Yeah, that's where you determine that you can actually use these things properly, and that's where you get that baseline.
Yes.
It's like how Call of Cthulhu has everybody can use 20% all the time as like have a firearm. Like they always know how to do that because it's so simple that anybody can point and shoot. It's not that they can shoot well or hit something. They can point and shoot it. Or drive auto, same thing.
Yeah, drive auto is always at 20% because everybody is assumed to be able to drive to the store to get milk.
Exactly.
But once you need to start doing like driving on black ice,
yes,
or
driving through like a bunch of rubble, right? Like,
yeah, or doing a chase. That takes skill.
Exactly.
That's another way to think about it. You can literally just say, if someone says, I want to do this, you can just say, does that take skill to accomplish?
Exactly. It's the whole like, and like that's why we always say for like proficiency in like D&D, if you have proficiency in it, you should be able to do something that's incredibly simple because you know how to do stuff at least proficiently enough that you are very skilled at this thing.
Yes.
Right? So it's an interesting fucking thought experiment.
This is a good video.
Having a great time.
It's good for the brain juice.
Yeah, my brain juice is flowing.
System again. Playing cards, if it's Jenga, if it's pickup sticks, if it's bouncing balls. Test it against that one first. Helping someone else. Can your character help somebody else? In my scenario, the answer would be yes or no. We want them to be able to help each other, so we want collaboration. We want the characters to work together because perhaps if we go all the way back to our first decision, we want the game to feel more like a team rather than as individuals playing in a group space. So the answer is yes, we want our characters to be able to help each other. So how would they do it? In my scenario, maybe there's a ability that says assist or works well with others. Yes or no. If it's yes, then yes, you work well with somebody else. Do you help them? Well, again, I don't have any gradation within my role-playing system, apparently. So if you have the ability, does work well with others, and let's say then the thing is mountain climbing, and your character has mountain climbing yes, then the two of you will be able to climb the mountain, because you can work well with others, and you can mountain climb. Do you see what I'm driving at? Is you're going to start testing all
You mean climbing
of the usual...
So I'm with him so far, but I also now am thinking like in actually creating this, you would have to figure out so many abilities and skills in that sense.
Yeah, that's
because
the problem.
This is so bare bones that you can literally like, unless it is like Fate, right, where you can write in whatever for like a certain amount of stuff, right?
Yeah.
In that case, it'd work fine. You just have them figure it out, have their own, situations that they think that their character will be great at, and then you write those in. But if you wanted to make a list or something of it, fuck that. Fuck that forever.
Yeah, hell no.
So, you know what? If you're going to do this, guy, if you've already done it, I don't know. I have no idea. But if you ever see this somehow, I hope you did it in such a way that is like Fate in that case.
Yeah, because like you really have to start broadening it. There's too much. Yeah, unless you are doing it in a very, very narrow setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where maybe this is this would be both interesting and awful, I imagine. Imagine an RPG where it is like an office. It's office politics and shit like that. I imagine a lot of people probably just wanted to murder me, but you know, if it is an area in the game that is that small, you could.
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole ton of things that you would need to worry about in an office thing. You're not going to be climbing rock walls or although who knows? What if the fucking office gets attacked by terrorists and then we have a Die Hard situation?
God. Oh
no. God. There's no escape.
Well, so obviously you then, you know, you set up the basis, and then if people take it in such a way, then what are you going to do at that point, right? Like,
yeah, you're going to tell them, well, fuck you, the system isn't built for that. It's not, it doesn't happen.
Exactly,
Go,
right.
leave.
If you did that, that'd be shit. Pizza Funk says it's just 20 questions RPG edition at that point. Yeah,
it kind of is.
Like, if excuse me, if you do it in such a way that it's so broad that you can choose from anything, sure, right?
Yeah.
But, like, at least with something like Fate, you know, it has some structure so that you can keep it bound so that it's not just 20 questions, right?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Not a big fan of Fate, but
not a big fan of Fate, but it's still, like, I understand it's a good system. It's fine.
Yes.
But yeah, for this, like, if you do narrow the setting, you don't, like, I feel like at that point you also have to start, like, not think of every fucking possibility.
You know what I just realized?
The
orange that I paint my Tyranids looks almost exactly like macaroni and cheese.
Hell yeah.
Damn it. My fucking Tyranids are filled with macaroni and cheese.
Are you telling me that you actually made some Cheezosaurus Rexes?
I guess so. I guess I have fucking Cheezosaurus Carnifexes now.
Cheezosaurus Carnifex!
Because that's what I'm painting right now. I'm painting my last two Carnifex. God, can you imagine? I'm done with my Carnifexes after this.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Not that they're hard to paint, they're fun to paint, but like, man, it's always weird to be like, wow, I'm done. Don't need to paint any more of these.
Absolutely. Excuse me. But yeah, so continuing on.
Role-playing scenarios against your own system. So the next one, discovering a hidden door or a secret clue. Is that another skill? Is that an ability? Is it a talent? Is it a feat? Is it a focus? Is it a... You start to come up with these things. Start to test the system. And then, of course, melee combat. Can you engage in melee combat? Yes. No. Yes, you can. How do you engage in melee combat? And how do you determine damage? How do you determine the ability to dodge or block out of the jump out of the way? Maybe you don't. In my scenario, I'm particularly stuck. Can they use a sword? Yes. So does that mean they automatically are dealing damage to the enemy?
Yeah, right.
If the enemy can use a shield, then are they automatically cancelled out? I will need to go and test the system and to come up with a solution where there is no maths, and I can't give you the solution, by the way, folks. I am literally making this up during this video as we go along. I will have to go and find solutions that are yes, no, and then the outcome is based on certain yes or no's, and then the damage is based on yes or no, or maybe there is no damage. Maybe this is completely a theatrical kind of thing. Do you have a sword? Yes. Does your opponent have a shield? No. The opponent is no longer standing. They double over and they are dying. It could be something as simple as that, because then we need to look at ranged combat.
Honestly, because, like...
it's
absolutely true.
I don't actually have an issue with that. It just sounds so alien and funny to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, imagine if you're playing D&D, it's like, you have a sword. He doesn't have any sword. He's dead.
Right.
But that's what that works.
That's what he kind of has to do for a yes and no.
Yeah.
Because, like, otherwise, I mean, unless you want it to become a bit complex, it goes, does he have a sword? Yes. Does the other guy have armor? Yes. Does the sword penetrate the armor? Yeah, yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Is your character made to be a combat character in that case? Like, I would then go, do you have an ability or a skill that says that you can go for, like, you know weak points, let's say. Like in armor there are obviously weak points, you know, the little joints, right, for some things, because that's a little weaker, or the faceplate where you can just stick it right in the eye. Are you skilled enough to do that though? Who knows, right? Then you get even more complex with that, because combat is complex as fuck. If you think about it, combat is super fucking complex, and the reason why we have these things with the math and the numbers and stuff is because it's so complex that we need a way for it to become quantified so that we can actually, like, play it out well.
You know what's interesting that I'm noticing about this right now? The more... If you make a system that is complex in an area, it'll be simple in others, necessarily. And if you make a system that is super basic here, it has to be very complex somewhere else. It's a balancing act, it seems.
It seems that way, at least.
Yeah, like I don't know of any system that's like, this is a super simple system and there's absolutely nothing complex about it at all.
Oh, there's always going to be complexity. Like
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So it's so weird that, like, I guess that never really occurred to me because we don't think of RPGs in terms this simplistic, because we've talked about systems that use cards or use other things like that try to simplify things, but never to this extent.
Right, exactly.
And it's very interesting to think about.
Right. Yeah, and it's that whole tree of, like, once you add in something that is a complex feature, like we said with a piece of, like, an item, right? Like having a simplistic thing like a gun that is made to be simplistic so that you can point and shoot, right?
Yeah.
The moment you start adding more complexity to this thing of, like, it can do better ranges. Like, let's say it goes from handgun to sniper rifle. A sniper rifle is more complex than a handgun, right?
Absolutely.
And so, like, you have all these other things. You have the wind you have to take into account. You have the fucking range you have to take into account. Bullet drop, you know, all that kind of shit. Your own fucking breathing. You know, like, and then, like, for this yes and no, again, with the sword and the shield, like, it becomes, just because you have these things does not mean you can use them well, like we were saying before with the climbing kit, right? You then go into how well can you use it? Well, that now has to become a yes and no. How do you make something complex a yes and no?
You don't.
It's really hard to. It's incredibly hard to.
I think it, at a certain point, you can do it for a time.
Yes.
But I think after a certain point, you can't, because that's the nature of complexity.
Yes. It becomes complex enough that you need a complex answer.
Yes.
Right? Now, again, what we do in this case is I say, is there even combat?
Yeah.
Right? I would say, I don't know if this is going to be a game for combat necessarily. You might get into a fight, but it's not necessarily the thing that you really want to have happen.
Yeah.
Or really that does too much other than it's going to, you know, be a bad time for you and the other guy or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
like
either that or it would need to be combat that is simple combat. So, like, no guns, like, just... like, honestly, maybe not even swords and armor. This might need to be a system that takes place in, like, the real world where you don't have a gun, and so you're punching people. Like, did he see the punch coming? No, then you hit.
Exactly. Like, and he's about to get into ranged combat, so I'm excited to see if that brings up anything for the melee stuff, because I like what you're saying with making it more modernized. Makes it a lot easier because we have a lot more that we can do that's simplified in our modern day, right? And then you don't have to worry about so much complexity like a sword and a shield.
Yeah, and it's also like if you're doing it like a fantasy game, I want bread. Suddenly becomes, well, can you make your own bread? No. Then go to the market. Do they have any? No. Can you? Now what?
Right.
I still want bread. What do you get? You know, then you have all these different, because like you can't make bread from scratch, Alejo.
Nope, I can't. God no.
Yeah, I can't either.
Nope.
I can't make bread from scratch. I don't know how to fucking grind flour down
exactly.
like wheat into flour and then do that shit. Go find viable yeast in the wild. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of steps to it. Yeah. And we've made it so much simpler for ourselves in our current day and age. Like
that you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because we're good at being lazy. That's the point.
That's true. But like we've made it so that we get to this point where we can survive and like make it easier for ourselves to survive. It's not like we're out in the forest trying to hunt a bear every day, you know?
You wouldn't hunt a bear.
I wouldn't hunt a bear. You're right. I wouldn't. I would let him kill me. But yeah, so it's I think you're right on the money though of making this a modern system. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
In almost any system I can think of, there is always ranged combat. That was one of the fundamental steps that mankind took when they realized they could throw something at an enemy and cause it to move less than when they were trying to just run up to it. And it also gave the advantage of not being hit back by the
Unga Bunga rock hit head, he goes slower. Yes.
Yeah, I played Far Cry Primal.
Yeah, there you go.
That one was fun. I loved eating spears at people.
The enemy when you things at range. So how does your range combat work? Is it fundamentally different from melee combat? Is it fundamentally the same? In my system, I suspect it's going to be exactly the same thing, just with no return damage being possible. There are some role-playing systems out there where only the players roll dice, and so only the players determine whether the enemy hits, or whether the enemy fails, or whether the enemy deals damage, or whether it doesn't. So it's something to take into consideration. Step number 6.
Okay.
Now you take your system and you test it with your friends. And I cannot emphasize this enough. When we were writing the book, Complete Guide to Nautical Campaigns, we had the most amazing playtesters come in and they sat around the table and they tried to do stuff. They tried to break the system. They tried to do things that I hadn't anticipated in the system. They succeeded 100% of the time. They asked, "Oh, how do I do this?" And you go, "I don't know. I hadn't accounted for that." "Oh, how do you do that?" "You do it this way." "Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. That's broken." And even when I shipped it off to other people to try and roleplay, they sent back almost as many pages as the rulebook was in terms of questions. "You've said this, but there's no accounting for that. You've said this, but this is," etc., etc., etc. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of things that you need to take.
Sounds like he's got great playtesters.
Once you've tested,
I was gonna say, like, this is a fantastic thing to have happen for you if you're making something, and it makes sense. Makes sense because he's, you know, a bigger channel and people know him, and he can actually like afford to get people that are, you know, gonna be good playtesters, hopefully. So that's helpful to have a following for that. But
yeah, no kidding.
It's definitely one of those things of like you want that criticism. You don't want those people that are gonna go,
God,
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. The thing where it's pulling teeth.
Yeah, right.
it a couple times, not just once, a couple times. My suggestion would be test it at least twice before you change anything. Then change stuff based on those testings, and then only do you update it, and then you test it again and again. And your objective is to whittle down the amount of feedback that you're getting from your players until eventually they're going, "Oh, can we play in your system? Because I really love it. I really enjoy it. It's so cool. It does this. It solves that problem. It solves the next problem." So that's what you're looking for when you're testing your system, is trying to get it to the point where there is nothing. But don't doubt yourself. You might get players going, "Oh, this is terrible. Why did you think this would ever be interesting?" Try it with different groups. That's the other important thing, is your own home group might be so used to the style that you normally run using the normal system that they don't want to even know about this new system. So they're naturally going to be resistant to it. Take it online. There are so many things that you
maybe
can
if
find
you have
out
asshole
there.
players.
Table Find a Wizard, for example. That's where you should go, and the right link will be in the video today. Trust me. So go and have a look for different groups to play it on. The more people you can play test it with, the stronger the system will definitely be.
Yeah, agreed.
Then, well, now what you need to do is, last step, you start fleshing it out, because they're going to want to know the equipment. Oh, can I buy equipment? People love buying equipment. I don't know why. They often don't use it, but they like to have it, and they like to...
You know what? Fair.
Yeah.
You prepare so much for something and then you completely forget you have it.
Yeah. I'm glad that you guys don't seem to do that too often.
Not too often, no. I haven't been using a lot of my stuff, to be fair, but...
I mean, honestly, a lot of it has been solved by Boris just stabbing people. So,
yeah.
you know.
cash so that you can buy more. You're going to need to work out equipment. You're going to need to work out whether that equipment has durability. Does it last? Does it break? What are the chances of it being destroyed by fire? How heavy is it? Is that something that you even need to worry about in your TTRPG? All those kinds of questions. So you're starting to flesh it out. You're starting to now build up all those additional things. And it's at this point that you then start to add in additional mechanics as well. Oh, well, the players felt it was a little bit difficult to create a unique character because you only had 3 basic character classes in your first test. So you can now add in another 15 if you want to. They then felt, well, leveling, there was no leveling. So how do we level? Please tell us how we level, work out how we level, etc., etc., etc. Once you've done that revision, guess what? You're back to playtesting, and you want to playtest that thing again, playtest all of the additions that you've now added on, because they may very well have broken the system, and then you go back and you revise. And you say, does this work with my core original purpose, my original plan of having a system which was either yes or no, or whatever your particular goal was? Does this rule fit with that? Does this rule fit with that? Because you might find that as you expand, as you add on to this particular rule system, it starts to change and evolve, and sometimes shifts back towards the role-playing system that you're used to playing, or sometimes gets to the point where you're like, this just isn't actually fun. This mechanic, no matter which way I twist it, no matter which way I look at it, just isn't going to work. And then my last piece of advice to you, because that's it for this particular video. I've gone on for way too long anyway. The last piece of advice that I have for you is don't give up.
Hey.
The current rule system...
Remember when you said in the beginning that you might just give up?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
That's the first step to doing things. Yeah. Don't stop.
Don't stop doing them. Wow, crazy.
And it is still good to hear that.
It's good to hear, but I feel like if you had said it after the fact,
trying to get off of the ground called the Tri system and the Tri-Fi system. Those I have been writing for years. I have had people come in and join me, and they've added or they've subtracted. They haven't had the same goal, so they've pulled out, or I've pulled out, and it's sort of been malleable and it's been evolving, constantly changing, constantly adjusting. And now it's in a place where I think, you know what? I could now start get to the point where I am kind of happy with it. Because I have players going, oh, I really loved that system. I want to play it again.
Nice.
But having played some new systems in the last 3 months, I'm going, yeah, but I think I could make it better. I think I could make it better. Fair. And then with, my partner going, well, I only want to play a game that says yes or no because I've never role played before and I think it would be a really good, easy system to get into. I'm going, that is a whole different challenge. Yeah. That is a whole different challenge. For me, it's an intellectual one, and one that I want to do, obviously. But
in case my partner is listening, I do want to do it. I do really want to do it.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Don't worry. I'm working on it.
That's funny.
Yeah, a different kettle of fish. Once you start designing systems, though. Forever.
Who fishes out of a
designing systems because you'll start to see, oh, cool. Well, I can tweak this and I can do that. Oh, let's try this mechanic. Whoa, that didn't work. But if I just tweak and tinker and this and that's how you get gnomes. That's how you get gnomes. All right. So to avoid gnomes, I'm ending this video. I wish you and yours the very best of luck if you are going to be designing your own system. And if you do, join our Discord. Discord.
Okay. I don't know what he means by gnomes. I think that's probably just a term for something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that or it's an award of some kind. I don't know. I feel like I've heard the term.
I
don't know.
I have no idea.
And don't look up what is a gnome because you're not going to get anything.
Right? Yeah. What is a gnome? Oh, it's a tiny man who is.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's not really what I was looking for.
That's amazing. Wow. Thank you for telling me something I know. Woo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I liked that. I was hesitant at first, but it was a very good thought experiment.
Yeah, I think honestly using it as a thought experiment to kind of like understand where he's going with it and try to do it yourself and understand where your thoughts go with it will help you very much with like creating your own system, right?
Yeah.
Because like I know more so now than ever that if I were to make something, it would be pretty complex. Because I think about that shit and I can't not think about that shit.
Yeah,
right?
because you have always been the everything needs to make sense.
Yeah.
Which it does.
Yeah. It's just it's helpful for my brain and it's helpful for other people's brains, I think, when things
most
make
people-
sense, right?
Yeah, no, like absolutely. I agree.
So it's one of those things that is very very much what I'm about, I say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that video. Good video, I would
Yeah,
say.
quite good.
Yes. Yeah, that's
I
it.
think that's
for
gonna do it for us.
Yeah, that's true. It will. I hope if Vale watches this, which I'm gonna send it to them. If you watch this and you have any other stuff to ask us about it, I wish we could have got you on to like talk to you about it, but I understand time zones fucking suck. So you know, if you ever want to just hang out and talk, let us know. It'd be cool. See about any of that kind of stuff and all that shit. And I know I talk to you on occasion anyway, but you know, you can bitch to me directly. It'll be great. Bitch me out. It's cool. No, I know, you know what I mean. But yeah, so other than that, that's it. Let's end it out. Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out. Those of you who have, appreciate you. Hey, if you're at this point, you haven't even thought about it yet, maybe you should subscribe. It's been like 3 hours. You're invested. Get in that
here
subscription.
the whole time. You may as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're on the fence still, watch another one. I don't know.
We got 80 of them.
We do have 80 other ones. It's true.
We also have Devils and Dice. It's
We
pretty
also
good.
have, yes, we also have Devils and Dice. I'm going to be putting up a new episode tomorrow for everybody to see. It's been a great time. We're up to that's session 40 that's going to be going up tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Wednesday that it is.
Some shit goes down.
Yeah, it does. So if you've been keeping up, hey.
Yeah, you
Good
should
stuff.
You should take a look because it's some shit.
It's some shit. We're getting into some shit. Other than that, hey, the podcast is found on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again as a VOD on Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Might change some stuff around in the future. Dunno. We'll see about it.
Once we get into season 4.
Exactly. Season 4 might be some changes on schedule of like when it comes out and stuff. We'll see how things go. I should put out another survey now that I think about it. I should have put out a thing on the question on it, but fuck me forever for now thinking about it. So whatever.
Oh well.
Anyway, other than that, it is also available, on the audio-only version on your podcasting service of choice.
There's an audio-only version?
There is an audio-only version around 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. It really depends on the service, because I know, like, Spotify, because Anchor is, like, a child of it, it'll go on to Anchor, and then it'll go on Spotify, but, like, for Anchor to, like, Apple... iTunes or whatever the fuck it is now. I don't know. Apple Podcasts, I think. Whatever it is, it takes a little longer to get there or wherever else. It really depends. But if you know of other places that the podcast should be that you like, hey, let me know and I will spread it around, because I've already done that a bit and I get many messages from many different things now on the email. But
like comments or
no, like promotional shit.
Complaints.
No, not even complaints. I wish, but no, promotional shit. But anyway, Other
That's
than
it.
that, well, no, other than that, thank you again to our patrons, Draco Kraken, Mug Zero, Slazer, Steely, Drake Cross, Chris, Frozen Spaghetti, and Kill Chrono. Thank you so much for the support. And again, if you missed it before, hey, there's a $1 tier if you really, if you want to do that.
If you really hate us.
Well, no. And I've said this before, but if you want to, instead of giving whatever you're giving now and go down to tier 1, do it. That's fine. No judgment whatsoever. That's up to you. Make your financial situation work however it needs to. We are secondary to you,
Yes.
Not even secondary. We're fucking tertiary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes you, God, us.
That's right.
As it should be.
As it should be.
And then good old God-fearing country.
That's right. Anyway, other than that, that is it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think
Nothing
that's
else. Like, subscribe.
Now we're gonna go play Payday
whatever.
2, maybe.
No, I'm tired.
Oh no, okay.
I need to fucking die. But
What a shame.
yeah. So we'll see you next week. As long as nothing else horrible fucking happens.
Yeah,
Apologies.
like another COVID.
Yeah, like the
Although
COVID,
honestly, you guys should be fine now.
Yeah, no,
because,
we're good now. I never got it, and my mom is totally fine now. Like she is just like now regaining taste. Like,
very good, very good.
It's coming slowly, but she's regaining it, so it's all going great. And she tested negative when they tested her, so it's fucking through. Like it only lasted a little while because of the fucking vaccine. Yeah, it's great.
Good.
Very happy. I sleep better now.
Very good.
Anyway,
And then hopefully this Thursday we'll have another we'll have another session of what's it called? Devils and Dice. That's it.
Yeah, and then we'll get that up the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm trying to